Yeah, they're all waiting. They're all waiting. Yeah,
So,
it's
apparently we're live now, and you're probably thinking to yourself, "Where's the music? Where's the intro?" Well, it hasn't happened yet.
Are we?
I've got to plug this in first. I didn't want to start late, so too much late. Okay, why don't we go like this, and then we can press this button, and then you can have your intro. See, you're all happy now. Look at that. See? Back to normal. How's everyone? Another week. Episode number 239, I believe, if I've counted correctly. Don't hold me to it. Synth Geekery Show. It's a weekly live stream that we talk about modular synthesizers and other types of synthesizers and samplers, sequencers, drum machines, all that sort of stuff. Sometimes we talk about software. I try not to, though, because I don't like it as much. I do it for a living. And the less mouse clicking, the better for me. I like to have something to put my hands on and touch and feel and get an immediate sort of response. I'm a bit more of a hardware guy. Kill me if you don't like it. Anyway, nice to have you. It's another week. We've managed to come around. It feels like I was literally streaming yesterday. That's how quick this week has gone. I don't know why. It's weird. Maybe it's because it's a leap year. We're getting an extra day. I don't know. You work it out. Who's into conspiracy theories? Anyway, let's get on to the show. Obviously, this week, the topic is, and you've only probably just worked it out because it says it in your YouTube title, DIY Eurorack cases. And that's what we're going to be talking about this week. Hopefully, some of you will enjoy it. I know some of you aren't into Eurorack, but I kind of feel like you might be interested in this even, because we're going to be talking about other stuff than actually synthesizers here. We're going to be talking about woodwork and electronics and electrical and metalwork and you name it. It's really, really, it's a big job, and we'll go through some of the things that I've been doing in the last couple of weeks. Other than that, we'll go to the sort of usual things that we talk about at the start of the show. Don't forget, we have a Zoom call waiting for you. The link is pinned in the chat. If you can't find it, I do suggest that you look at the pop-out chat that's in YouTube. It will be there. But just to give you a hand, I think it's this button here. It is. So it's just bit.ly Ranzee Zoom, and that'll get you to the page where you can join. It's free. You don't need any software. But if you do have the app, I do recommend that you use the app over the browser version. It just tends to work a bit better. Jump in. You guys can come and go as you please. It's a revolving door. I do not mind if you don't even have your camera on. But I'm sure there's going to be questions that you want to ask, and that's the best way to do it. Jump into Zoom. It hasn't been as popular as I'd hoped, but we'll see if we can get... It takes a while for you guys to catch on. I've learned that, it might take a few years. We'll see how we go. Anyway, we do have some of our usual guests this week, and we'll go across to them. Now, down the bottom right-hand corner, I think I'll pop the chatties in there for now, guys, while we're waiting for someone to come onto Zoom, because no one's come into Zoom yet. Anyway, so we'll start off with Darren. Let me get all these volumes up. Hey, Darren, how's your week been?
well, probably like yours, man. Let me start.
Wait. What's going on? This is weird.
The gremlins are back.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's gone now.
Yeah.
Whoa. Who was that? Was it? Not me. Can't
That's
be
Chris, I think. Was it Chris?
I think it was me. Yes, I think.
All right, Chris. Stop playing around, Chris.
I won't do that again.
Keep going, Darren.
Right. Well, I'm working on the. Been working on a few tracks for the Life We Live 3 album. So I've been doing that, but in between doing that, I've been carrying on with the live rig because it's almost finished. Those who follow me on Facebook will know that I have a little DIY project. Yes. Box.
Nice.
Done some DIY cutting, but nobody knows what's going in it. And if you look at the Facebook page, you'll see where it sits in the live rig. Interesting. That's the bit to make everyone curious. The second thing is, I realised that my live rig wasn't actually working as I thought it was. Now, this is because I don't understand stereo. I'll explain. I will explain. So, I have my live rig set up just in front of me, just below camera, with all the stuff that's in the case and beyond on the desk so that I can map everything and carry on writing. That's fine. Everything seems to be working. I got to the point where I wanted to throw the blue box mixer into the bin because I didn't think it was working. So I got out my other mixer that I used on my last live show in Blackpool, placed that down, and realised it couldn't be the mixer because that wasn't doing what I thought it was doing. It must be the Akai Force. So I checked the plugs, the ins and outs. They seemed to be only coming out of one channel, or should I say it was mono, and it was just not working. I tried it in the headphones, that's fine. Stereo, that's fine. Everything else, back to the blue box, still nothing. Absolutely couldn't think. Maybe it's the mixing desk just here, maybe this is a bit of a fault. So I checked that out. Everything's stereo in there. No. So I spent a whole day, and this is a whole day, getting annoyed, wanting to throw things in the bin, give up, you name it, it came out. Only to find out that because I'm running an Ableton, I forgot to put channels 1 and 2 instead of just 1. And I just had number channel 1 on it. Hence the mono. Hence the reason why I could not work out why none of my effects were working or anything. And I spent a whole day because I never looked up, because I was just running it into Ableton, ignoring that and concentrating on the live stuff. And using the headphones for there. Not sort of thinking to look whether I'd got it on stereo channel or just channel 1. So there's a tip. Make sure you've got channels 1 and 2 on stereo because it doesn't work.
Some would say that proves that the DAW is always going to be the problem.
No, it's the person using the DAW that's always going to be the problem.
Well, that's the breakdown, isn't it? It's the person behind the user interface. Always.
It's just like, why not just
paying.
click 1 and 2?
So Darren,
Yeah,
that
whole
was
day.
on your Facebook. What was that?
Yeah, I've got the other bit where that's that box there that I've just shown you.
Yeah.
Yeah. There.
So what is it?
A project box. Well, it's a project box. It's caught to have something, to house something or some things, maybe. And then the other picture is where it's clamped to the live set.
I've got this picture. Sorry, let's do it here. This picture.
No, it's the latest ones I've put on. There's 2. It's 3 together. It's this and two others at the side of it.
So that's not a decorative Kleenex box, was it?
No, I had that one already. Where's your latest picture?
I thought it might be where his mail goes, you know.
Oh,
If you
okay,
wanna-
yeah.
if you wanna book me, just
Yeah,
put your mail messages in
alright.
this box.
I worked it out. You've done 3 pictures. Cool.
Yeah.
Let me get them up for you. Which one? Oh yeah, this one's probably better. It's on your Facebook anyway. So people who
Yeah.
you're
So
on
if you
Facebook,
don't follow me, you're going to miss out on what's happening.
yeah. So follow Darren. Get on.
But who says I'm going to ever tell you what's in there until it goes live?
There you go.
So there's where it's going to be situated.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So what's it used for? What's good in there? People have been saying different ideas, but then none of them have been right. Someone's been close, but I'm not saying what or why. But they've been saying on Facebook, but it's been close.
Okay, so
But yes, anyway, that's been my week.
I think
So
it's
can make it
because Steve Cresshead has said in your Facebook, and he's in chat now. He said that it is a Roland compact, and I think he's talking about those small, the S.
Yeah.
Rolka.
The easiest thing about this.
Yeah, those
Like
things.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's
no.
a Korg Volca. So I say no to both of those.
No, I don't think so.
I think it's something Bastel.
No.
Ooh.
Not
I-
Bastel.
It's too big to be a Eurorack, but it could be just the right
Yeah.
size for an API
No, it-
500 series module.
No,
it's going all the way
well,
through.
not that way. Yes, it goes all the way through. Look, you can see me. Aha.
I
And
thought that was the
I'll
Mirage.
give you a thing.
It's not a mirror.
It's about just under 20. I'd say it's about 18 centimeters, maybe that way.
Mm-hmm.
About 5 that way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear.
The whole thing's 200 centimeters long. So yes,
I
interesting.
hope there's a prize for the best guess.
Yeah, you should do a prize. Definitely. Everyone, if you guess it, Darren's going to give away his Juno 6.
Yay!
I am kidding. That's not
We
true.
get some
It's
fluff
only a
from Rave
sticker.
Dave.
It is definitely not true because Darren
Yeah.
will literally kill me. No, it's not true.
Yeah, I'll end up getting rid of the
Not-
studio before that.
Got
Yeah.
a clue.
All right, let's keep going. Who's next? Hey, Andy. How's your week
Hey.
been?
Yeah, I'm having trouble with the stereo too. This thing just will not go in stereo. I don't know what the wah wah wah. Yeah, everything's fine. Still, well, decent weather yesterday, but mostly bad weather. So, no astronomy shows, no fancy stuff this week. Just basic this and that. I did have some fun last night with my little. Oh, it already turned off.
Yeah, I saw that.
My little the Artiphone Corda instrument. It's actually a very capable MIDI controller. I had a Bluetooth to the phone, hooked to my polyvolver, just haven't with it, and it's quite expressive actually. And you can use the ARP on this along with the ARP on the polyvolver and get some really interesting results. So yeah, so that was a little bit fun last night. You guys didn't see that. And other than that, not too much going on. I got, I think later today, after I have a nap, I'll go to Half Moon Bay. So I might do a little live stream from there if you guys want to see what Half Moon Bay looks like. So
Awesome. Let's do
Yeah.
that. Brilliant. Next. Ian. Still there.
Hello. I'm still here. Good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, all that stuff. What's my week been like? More boxes. We're on about box, I don't know, 70. I think 70 boxes so far. Still climbing. Splitting my time between doing that and trying to get this dance project done. And interestingly, in support of Darren's not understanding stereo, while my client was here and we were sorting it out, I recorded one of the tracks in mono because I didn't put 2 stereo tracks together in Reaper. So you're not the only one who does that sort of stuff.
Nasty.
Done it.
I mean, it's typical, isn't it? So the minute we're moving up from Yorkshire, I get an offer to join a new band, which I've obviously had to turn down, and a band that I was the singer with in the 90s suddenly decided to start rehearsing again. So they had the first rehearsal last week. The next one's next week. I've said to them that I'm going, but I might turn up for a rehearsal just for old time's sake if I've got time before we go. So
Oh,
you know,
nice.
yeah, but and then we're, like I say, we're out of here on the 11th of March. That's when it all been well. Although, as I keep saying, it could all go wrong. We might not complete. You know, it does happen. But touch wood, everything's going well so far.
Well, you've packed up most of your stuff there. I mean,
Well, the stuff, yeah, the removal firm's booked, so our gear is going out of the door. The interesting thing is, what do I take with me? Because that could be 3 months before we're actually in the new house, and it's really difficult to decide what to take. You know?
everything that
we've only got,
you can fit on your
we've
lap,
only got a small,
pretty much.
Well, yeah, we've got a small car, suitcases, and all that sort of stuff.
OPC.
Yeah,
OPC, yeah, the OP1, the Yamaha drum thing, all the sort of boxy type things. Although I was going to take a keyboard, but I literally can't get it in. So it's all small boxes apart from one portable guitar. And in fact, it's all in the corner over there.
This is why I love my MPC.
Just take an MCC.
You literally just take your MPC,
Yeah.
and you got everything you need.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Awesome. Well, it's exciting times for you, that's for sure.
It is. So more to follow.
Chris, how's your
Hello.
week been, mate?
Oh, I've had a bit of a weird week. I'll start at the beginning. I fixed my Cobalt problem.
Yes.
Well
You
done.
did.
Yes, so
Behringer need to leave the money on the fridge, don't they?
Behringer did not calibrate it correctly. No. There was a trim pot that I found after. Incidentally, there are a lot of trim pots, which is very interesting. I've written them all down, so I know now for the future what might be trim pot related. No, but I got her open and had a look. Don't tell Behringer. Although I didn't void any warranties because it was technically moving it into a Eurorack case and back again. That's all I was doing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there was a trimming pot for adjusting the DC offset in the VCA. Is literally what we said. So when I found it and turned the pot and found that it was fixing the issue and I tuned it in, it's now fixed. And now I have a lovely sounding. Sorry. That's more like it. Like it should sound. A nice cobalt doing what a nice cobalt.
Trim pots.
Yep.
Do your job.
The trimmers. Yeah.
Do your job.
Yeah, I know. It's like
Someone
how
had
could you
one
miss
job.
that? Yeah, exactly. I think maybe there's a different person for each trim pot, and that person sneezed and went, that'll do. Yep. Okay. So that was the good news for the week. I spent most of the rest of the week helping my unwell parents.
That's sad.
My mum had a fall in the kitchen.
Oh, sorry to hear.
And she had she got some light concussion from it. So that was a bit scary, but it was a bit of a strange one as well because she didn't want to go and see a GP or anything like that. So it took us a while to convince her. But then my sisters got involved and said, "You're going to a GP. We've booked one for you." So I took her down to the GP and they said, "Yeah, we think you got a concussion." She also hadn't dressed the wound on her back of her head because she hit her head. And I was surprised she hadn't dressed it, but she did eventually, and it was fortunately just a graze because it seemed to be a lot of blood, but it was actually just a graze. So, yeah, old people and bleeding. Oh, God.
There's a lot of little blood vessels under your skin and the scalp. Yeah.
Well, they don't have.
It's like your nose, isn't it? You don't have to scratch anything.
Yeah. Yeah, they're so close to the surface of your skin too.
Yeah. So anyway, ironically, my dad was also having a minor operation this Friday, so that was in the mix as well. So yeah, I was a busy boy, sort of dealing with things like that.
Oh, it's good that they've got you there, mate.
Yeah, no, it's been good to be able to help. But also you get those kind of thoughts about, trying to get help for people and how much further, how do you push someone and how do you not invade their personal space and all that good stuff. But yeah, no, we worked it out, found a balance. It's all seems to have turned out for the best, although my mum is going to be recovering for a while. But she just needs rest and she gets a bit sleepy, and ironically she has had concussion before, so we kind of know the drill. So we swung into action, and we'll deal with it. The other thing this week, more interesting stuff, I've been looking at free piano libraries. I've been on the hunt out for free piano libraries. And I came across one, Heaviosity's Foundation Piano. May or may not have heard of it. It's a free plug-in from them. It's a fairly low profile. It's only like a 1.5 gigabyte sample library, but very nice sounding. It's kind of filmic style. I quite like it. And also I was checking my own libraries to see what I had because I've forgotten, because it's been years since I've gone looking for a piano sample, piano instrument. So yeah, got familiar with downloading my contact player and all that kind of stuff again. I'm surprised they didn't say, "Hello, Chris, we haven't seen you for 10 years. Welcome back." But they didn't, so they don't care about me. So
they say that, but usually is put your serial number in.
Yes, it's like needy. It's like they need something. They need something. Yeah. No, so that's been interesting. So if anyone has any ideas for free piano sample libraries, give us a hoy or something.
There is that contact forum, like a DIY contact forum somewhere. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there's a heap of stuff in there.
Piano book.
Piano book. Okay, good.
Piano book. It's part of Spitfire. Somebody too. It was free.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I've found a few plugin libraries that are free, but they require the full version of Contact. It's like it's the equivalent, modern equivalent of batteries not included.
Yeah, right. So
did you say
that forum that I was thinking of? One of the things their mantra is that it has to work in the Contact player, which is a free thing. So yeah, but I know what you mean, because I've got some things that I can only use in Contact full.
Yeah.
And my Contact full version is slowly getting older and older and older because I'm refusing to update it.
To upgrade it, yeah. 'Cause you have to keep on giving them money.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love Piano Book. I use the downloads and put them on my Machina Plus, and no problem.
Nice.
So.
Right.
Okay, I'll definitely check that out. Thanks a lot, guys. And maybe later on I'll ask the chatties some questions about vocoders, but I'll leave that for later. That's my week.
Excellent. Excellent. Let's say hello to the chatties. Speaking of chatties. Hello, chatties. How are you? I don't even know who was first, but it's Keith in Watford is showing really, really high up on my thing here, so big hello to Keith. And he's one of our channel members, and only the channel members are the best. Just so you know, if you're feeling a little bit left out, become a channel member. There's actually a benefit to becoming a channel member now, other than the usual stuff. And so I'm starting to upload the ad-free versions of my videos on YouTube. So
Cool.
They are the same as the videos that I've already uploaded, but they're ad-free because I've turned monetization off on them. And also for Patreons as well, you're starting to see content through on Patreon. So if you prefer Patreon, go that way. And the good thing about Patreon is the videos that are actually hosted on their site now, which is finally they got off their ass and did that, which is a great idea. So I don't have to have Vimeo or some other crazy subscription, which was really expensive, by the way. So yeah, I think they're giving me up to 100 hours for now, and I think they said if you need more, you have to let us know, but I don't really know what that means. But anyway, nice to see everyone in chat. Wagoo's there, Brett Lemmings, QRDNK, Matt Brown, James, hello, how are you? And he's saying hi to everyone. And who else we got? Madcat Modular, which, if I remember rightly, is Josh. And we've also got Dave, who's one of our channel members and an amazing supporter of this channel. Half God, Half Beast's there. And it's scrolling off my screen. How does it do that? I hate that. Because there's so many things happening at the same time. Daniela's there. Man with Beard is there. Cresshead, as I mentioned before. And I think that'll do for now. There's a whole bunch of people you can see on the screen, right? And that's pretty much most of those people. If I have missed anyone, I do apologize, but we do have to get on with the show. And yeah, you know who you are anyway. It's nice to have you. Don't forget, the Zoom call is awaiting. There is nobody in there right now. So I don't know what you're scared of. Is it because you're mowing the lawn? Is it because you're in your undies? I don't know. Turn your video camera off. Just have your voice.
Or maybe it's you're doing both.
You could be mowing the lawn in your undies. Exactly, Darren. As long as you're not on the Bastille in the park in your undies. I think that would probably be a bit weird.
Yeah, you'd probably be arrested.
Yes. Speaking of doing something a bit weird, why don't we look at memes for the week? Because stranger things do happen. Starting with this one, excuse me, sir, it's gotten to our ears that you have been talking shit about us on the internet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's.
You aren't safe, people. And they know where you live.
Yeah.
It's Elder Uli. Yeah.
Radar Caves, the Zoom call. The link is pinned in the chat, or you can just type this in. bit.ly/Ranzee Zoom and jump on in. There you go. Let's keep going, and I'll see if he pops up in my little screen here. Next, this one was sent in by JX3D, Synth Classics. You got the emulator, you got Roland, and there's a whole bunch of stuff down the bottom, like the Juno. Is it Jupiter? Jupiter. I can't read it. It's really small print for me.
Jupiter 8.
Um,
Moby 6.
There you go. Cool. That's a good one, Henrik. Keep them coming.
PPG Wave 2.
Keep them coming. What else we got? DJs must stop referring to themselves as musicians by 2030. Thanks, Greta.
How dare you?
How about right away?
She still looks like that. That photo's when she was about 16, and she still looks like that. Because I actually just wanted to see if she'd actually started to get older looking, but she literally still looks like that.
She's what, 21 now?
Angry.
Like
Paul McCartney's long lost bass, missing for over 50 years, has been found. Yeah. It's very hard to see, sorry, but it's the Korg bass edition.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh wait, can I zoom in on that? I can't zoom, can I?
No, it's almost becoming like the modern Timble of that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's from Keith, by the way, who's in our chat. And Keith, keep sending them in, mate, because sometimes I haven't shown them. And here's an example. And also, here's another example. Thanks, Keith. When she sees your doorless studio, which has no Behringers and mostly electrons.
Someone's getting something tonight.
Yeah. I honestly don't know where to go with this because...
unless I'm reading it wrong.
Well, I mean... No, I'm just going to be severely naughty if I say something out of... No, I'm just not going to do it. It is a photograph. People remember that photographs are a snapshot of something in time. She probably did eventually close her mouth. I'm not sure when.
Well, because he immediately turns to the computer and downloads more stuff. So then it's that other meme, right? Where she's ignoring her.
That's it. Yes. Anyway,
panel.
they're a bit eclectic this week, I have to admit. Meme of the week, people. Which was your favourite?
Well, my favourite has to be the Lego synth.
Yay! Yeah, that's awesome.
I've got that.
That's not actually Lego. It's actually something called Nanobot, I think.
Nanoblocks. That's it.
Yeah. But I've had that years.
JX3D put that one in. So
brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Give him some love. I haven't seen him in chat today. Has he got a show on or something? Has he? What are the chatties saying?
Night.
DJs. DJs. Who else? Paul's bass. Behringer's heavies. Greta. Wow, it's all over the shop this week.
Yeah.
Wow, how am I going to pick this one?
It's a real.
I think the Lego might be slightly ahead by like a hair. Keep going, guys. Let us know in chat. Ooh, Lego.
I'll say the
Lego.
Tip it over the edge.
Yeah, Lego's got it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Radar Caves is with me with the mouth open. I'm kind of on that one. The expression is just priceless. It's like, I'm not even going to do it. That was a good one. Anyway, none of those memes were from me, so that's fine. I don't get butt hurt by this stuff. Yeah, but well done, whoever did those memes. Good job. Give yourself a pat on the back. I stole them to show on this show, so think about how lucky you are.
That's the way of the internet.
Yeah. News time. We have got a little bit to get through. Yes, there's Eurorack. Sorry, people. I shouldn't be apologising. Right? Why do I apologise? Stop apologising, Rant. Right. First off cab off the rank is a Create Audio, CR number 8 audio. These are the people that make the Nifty case and the Nifty keys. One of my favourite Eurorack manufacturers. And here we are with the new thing from them called Function Junction. And it's got like 8 different things that it does. What can I tell you? There's a video, so maybe I should get the video happening. Actually, you know what I didn't do, Ian? I did not get any of the videos keyed up, so maybe we should just not even bother. No, I'll try and get it. I'll try and get it for you. Give me a sec.
Well, we can see there's an ADSR. That's good.
Yeah.
Function.
Oh, there's a
Funk.
Get rid of
friggin'
Got
ad.
funk.
bit like a
Hang on. Let me just get rid of that ad.
looping envelope.
Sorry, guys. I'm going to wait 2 seconds, 1 second, skip ad.
10
Guys,
inverters.
don't monetize your videos. Please. Don't monetize your videos.
Mine's not monetized. I still get ads. That's how YouTube works.
Okay.
Yeah. Sadly, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that means that whole thing that I did with uploading unlisted, non-ad monetized videos for the channel members is not going to work? Is that kind of what we're saying?
It's not going to matter. It
Shit.
started like a couple years
Yeah,
ago.
mine's-
Started turning it
Well,
on.
you won't get a mid-roll ad. That's the thing. So if you switch it off, you should be all right with that. There'll be
Alright.
one at the beginning and one at the end.
No one's like
There's
throwing their
nothing
synth
worse
at
than
me yet.
getting
though.
No.
nothing like getting a mid-roll in the middle of one of your tunes. It just like completely kills it.
You just want to slap someone, don't you? All right, let's watch this.
Hi, I'm Richard Nickel, founder of Pittsburgh Modular Synthesizers, and I'm here to introduce you to Function Junction, a many functions in one module we've developed in partnership with our friends at Create Audio. What's a many functions in one module? Modules that are designed to provide the user with a wide variety of utilities for their modular system. Function Junction has 4 primary sections that can easily stand on their own as a module. These 4 sections are ADSR, Function Generator, LFO, and Multi-Mode Mixer. The ADSR section is a 4-stage envelope generator that smooths the shape of incoming trigger or gate signals to produce more expressive control voltages. The ADSR output can be used to control the amplitude of an oscillator, the cutoff frequency of a filter, or any other function on a module that accepts control voltages. This envelope generator, at its core, is based on a 100% analog design that we've been refining for the past 10 years. For Function Junction, we have added looping capability to the ADSR. This enables you to create complex shaped modulation sources with the press of a button. A function generator creates a periodic control voltage by setting both the time it takes the output to rise from 0 to 5 volts and the time it takes for the voltage to return to 0. It can be thought of as a triangle wave with independent control over the left, attack and voltage rise, or the right, decay and voltage fall, sides of the triangle. The triangle can be triggered to cycle both once as a one-shot, or loop to create a voltage-controllable LFO. The flexibility of the function generator means it can be used in a lot of different ways. It can be an envelope generator, voltage-controlled LFO, slew generator, gate signal delay, envelope follower, clock source, voltage-controlled clock divider, complex modulation source, and much more. The function generator can do just about anything, so experimentation is the key. You can never have too many LFOs. Straightforward to use and ready to modulate anything you want to wobble. 1 knob to control the rate and 2 outputs for triangle and square. Simple, but as with all the other utilities in this module, the LFO is perfect for modulating and triggering both external destinations as well as other sections of the function junction. The mixer section is an ambidextrous 3-channel attenuverting mixer that works with both audio and CV signals. Internally, the inputs are normal to the outputs of the ADSR, function generator, and LFO. The normal to internal connections can be replaced with any external audio or CV signals simply by patching them into the mixer input jacks. The signal path of the mixer is extremely versatile, allowing it to work in multiple configurations. For example, you can use this as a 3-channel mixer, or a 2-channel mixer with an independent attenuverter, or as 3 independent attenuverters, and more. Once again, experimentation is paramount to understanding the flexibility hidden in this mixer. Each of Function Junction's sections is pretty straightforward, albeit with some nifty tricks up their sleeves.
Right, there you go. And quite well explained by our mate from Pittsburgh, which is good to see they're collaborating. Now, so the only thing that I've noticed with this that may kind of annoy us is that there's a bit of real estate on that module where all the knobs are. And if you do use the mixer as a mixer, you kind of miss out on getting the outputs from some of the other things because of the way they've normalized the connections in the module. That is probably its own bad thing, but the good thing about this is the price. It's only $199, and if you add all those features, so it's got 5 main features, I guess, more than that. But if you add it up, you're really getting quite a good module for its price. Guys, what do you think?
I think it should have been shaped like a Swiss Army knife, with the round along the top and the things that come out, because it's very much a Swiss Army knife type philosophy, isn't it? It reminds me a bit of the Maths, but it's a different sort of vibe completely. A Maths had a very particular form and a very particular layout, and everyone had muscle memory as to how it works. Whereas this is being completely new. There's no preconceived
If you're not
muscle memory. Wait, the price is good. I think it's good to have multiple functions in one module. Probably comes as no surprise to people. The only thing that I'm a bit questioning is about the visual aspect again. I'm not sure about I can really tune in very quickly to where everything is and what to turn when I want to turn, when I want something to change and that kind of thing. I'm never sure about, when it comes to modules with so many functions, I'm never sure about the whole sort of where do you put the jacks versus where you put the pots. And yes, I mean the conventional wisdom of putting the jacks down the bottom to keep the patch cables out of the way of the knobs is good, but when you start packing so many things into one module, I'm just wondering if that rule starts to become a bit of a deficit rather than an advantage.
Hang on, let's go back to that. Sorry, that's where I wanted to go. Kind of want to look at it while you're talking.
To keep the price down, they would have had to have used a limited number of colours. They're already using 3. That's quite a lot for a panel. But it's just not working. It's just not delineating the sections enough for me.
You can always reskin
it
them.
looks busy and it's not.
Yeah. There's a lot of wasted space in that middle section.
Yeah,
I feel.
I'm not a huge fan of the non-parallel lines. That could be.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It kind of throws you off a bit.
Sort of. I know they probably say, "Oh, it breaks it up visually." Yeah, and it just confuses me.
But
it depends on.
Well, I haven't used my Maths for a while.
Yeah.
I haven't used my Maths for a while, but the Maths also has a lot of wasted space, but it has a very similar feature set. So I don't know if it's totally identical, but it seems damn close to Maths for me.
You can't.
Maths is like 290.
You can't make Maths smaller though. I've actually I can remember talking to someone about this. So because the Maths is it's basically 2 Maths, and then you've got the attenuverter mixer in the middle. You can't actually make it any smaller because the electronics is
you could,
impossible.
but it'd be cramped.
Well, it's the electronics that's letting you down, not the.
Is that what it is?
module.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. But the feature set and the price is similar to the Maths, so it's.
I think Maths are more expensive, aren't they?
$290.
So $100 more
or less. Probably that's MSRP is $290. Probably get it for less. I forget how much I paid for mine, but
yeah, I got mine used as well. That's the best way to get Maths. But yeah, it's a good point. But then again, I guess with Maths, because you've got your two sections, right? And those 2 sections, you can use it as an envelope generator, or as an LFO, or as any sort of other weird shape creation.
And as a mixer, you get
tool.
4 sources, not 3.
You get 4, yeah.
So it's actually 1 more.
Yeah. But you don't get an ADSR. You get an AR.
It's 2 ARs or something? Yeah.
Yeah. AR
I think
with
you could fake it with one of the sides. Couldn't you fake it?
You can. It's AR with the one of the repatching, internal patching.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forget what it's called now because I haven't got it in front of me. All my modules are down there on the floor at the moment. Yeah. Anyway, so that's good. And I know Ian is not really into modular, so that's fine. Darren, you're probably where do you sit with this?
Well, I've not touched modular for ages, but I still like modular. I just have so much other stuff doing. But I like to create audio stuff because it's like I say, not too expensive, and I like this. Like Chris says, it's not busy, but for some reason when I look at it, it just sort of gives me that impression that it is busy.
Yeah.
So maybe spending a little time with it, that's fine. Just at first glance, you think, oh. I mean, it's not. It's simple.
Wasn't Create Audio? Didn't they do the West Pest and the East Beast? Is that them?
I've got their website open here, actually.
Yeah, because I am really interested in them at some point.
They do East Beast, West Pest, Nifty, Nifty Case, Nifty Keys.
That's what I mean. They do some nice stuff, and it's not expensive.
Yeah,
and I do like this module. I must admit, I thought the video was reasonably good, especially for a layman as well. If you, it gives you that.
Pittsburgh guys,
it just helps that a little bit.
Been on my show 2 weeks in a row now.
Yeah,
he's getting a lot of love from us. Never get any messages from.
But I like that in the video because I mean I've not touched modular for quite a while, so. But for anyone who's like just getting into it or a bit, less thingy, I mean, if you just have a module on there and they're just whippling the knobs and putting some really complex explanations what it does, it's just like whatever. But at least it gives you that little bit more sort of understanding, especially from the start off. I mean, I quite like that, and like I say, I like this unit, and it's not expensive. So, have I got space in the case? Will I get back into Eurorack? Will I take it live as well?
I don't really see, Darren. I don't really see you completely like dropping Eurorack in the ocean. I still.
Oh no! Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I still like to whip back to the Eurorack to get sounds. I'm just a very big sample, so a lot of my stuff is sampled from Eurorack anyway. So
I kind of feel like
completely don't use it.
To be honest, I kind of feel like you might head more to sort of what Brooksy's done, because he's got that 1010 sampling module, which is amazing. And I know you'll probably think, well, I don't need it. I've got the Akai Force that samples on that. What do I need another sampler for? It's not really. That's not really the point. Like it is, but it isn't. Like it's more about that you've got a sampler in your Eurorack realm that then you can manipulate directly inside there. So unless you're like me, who likes to play with DC coupled audio interfaces, and sometimes it does a lot of people's heads and they can't understand that stuff, you may find that that's the easier route to go. Firing samples off using triggers and things like that. It's cool fun.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. It's Eurorack's one of those things that I love, but I always get drawn away from it because I spend too much time. I always feel as though I'm just creating cool sounds on anything rather than creating music.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. So that's why I end up drifting away from my modular back to Formula Kit, and then back and then sample stuff, and then so on.
It's perhaps a little bit like exercise that you have to do. It's not quite the same as playing sport. You don't really achieve anything, but you have to do it to get better at what you're doing and to stay fit. So.
All right, let's keep going, boys. We have got more products now. The next bunch is still Eurorack, because hey, these guys are releasing products on the market. This one is from one of my favorite manufacturers, Feedback Modules. You guys know I like them. A lot of love for these guys because they make really, really good stuff, and it's really quite inexpensive. This one's just an LFO, but it's an LFO with a little twist. What can I tell you about it? It is, let me get my notes up, sorry, wrong page. Only 95 euros for this. Okay, so let that sink in a little bit. The actual design of the module, they're really beautiful. They've got this kind of black, gold, cream and white sort of feel to it, and they look amazing in your case. That photo does not look good compared to what they actually really look like. I'll grab one in a minute. You guys can have a look and see what I mean with it under nice lights. They look really cool. Anyway, apart from how it looks, what does it do? It is an LFO, obviously. And what does an LFO do? Well, this one in particular has different kind of funky wave shapes, and that's kind of where this will take you. And you'll notice on some of those the little bits with white, you've got the bit 1 and bit 2 with the little stepped we're really starting. I don't know what's going on. The world seems to like talk about the same stuff at the same time. We have been talking about these stepped.
I've been saying this. I've been
What
saying
the
this
hell?
for years. They all get in a
crazy.
room at the beginning of the year and say and agree what's going to be this year's big thing.
Anyway, so here we go again, talking about our stepped sawtooth waveform, iridescent on LFO. Now, I've been talking about this for a long time. If you guys remember, I've got one of the little 2HP LFO modules, which has the steppy waveforms on it, and they are so cool to have in an LFO. They make some really, really cool modulation effects when you pipe it into a filter or you pipe it into an oscillator or something like that. So it's definitely worth having if you've got one of these for €95 euros. Wow, that's good. What else was I going to say? 8 waveform outputs. So all these outputs are separate, so you don't have to just like flick a switch and choose which output you want. You can literally have them all going out individually at the same time. Then you have
They're all
two
derived from the same timing source, yeah?
They are derived from the same timing source, of course. Then you have, which is handy, of course. Then you have 2 linked coupled outputs for where you can select any of the waveforms, and the alternative output has a VCA, so you can fade the LFO signal into a defined duration with the potentiometer, which is what that fade time knob is for. So that's going to be interesting as well. I kind of feel like some people are scratching their heads right now going, a VCA on an LFO? What is, a bit like that other video, what does this mean? Well, think amplitude, right? Think waveforms getting bigger and smaller. Yeah. And then being able to modulate that would be also pretty cool as well. It's only a 10 HP module. It is big for an LFO, I'll admit, but it does have a lot of stuff on it. So, and it also has a switch for high, low, and medium range, which is a three toggle switch up top there as well. And did you guys notice it has PWM?
Yeah.
How cool is that?
I've got one that does asymmetrical too.
I mean, the only LFO that I've got that does PWM is a Behringer 2500 oscillator in LFO mode. Yeah. So that's actually really cool. They are very handy. Yeah. So let's have a little look. Let's have a little squiz.
Doesn't Zadar do that? I think Zadar does that as well.
I don't have a Zadar though. Let's have a little squiz at their video. He's making his own videos now. Doesn't need me anymore. The LFO is kind of in the middle down the bottom there. He's touching it now. It's a 2600 oscillator he's using. Oh, I love it. Speed it up, speed it up. Okay, we get the idea. Anyway, so we get the idea. There's 4 minutes we're going to have to put up with him doing that. It's cool. It's cool. He does. We're actually going to be sticking with feedback modules for a bit because he's released a few other products. So what I would like to do is, if you don't mind, guys, is we will go through all of the products of feedback modules, and then we'll summarize them at the end. Is that okay? And I can remind you what they are. Right. So back to here. The next one is. This, I think, is going to get you guys interested. This is a VCO, but this is called the VCZ 111A or 3A, right? It's kind of got a little hint in the name. It's pretty hard to pick up on. What you can see here is this is the B model. I'm going to show you another one, the A model. Okay, and then there's premium.
Are them lights?
Premium and
are they lights?
They're lights. Premium and basic. Okay, so do you guys see the difference between the premium and basic? So the premium has the The premium has that really cool potentiometer in the middle, right, with all the little measurements on it, and the basic just has its normal knob, right? And so there's two versions. There's VCO-A and VCO-B. I just wanted to show you the difference. So VCO-A has you've got two options. You can either go premium or basic with the knob in the middle, right? And VCO-A or B. So VCO-A has more waveform options, and B just loses that. So you get the square wave disappearing, and sorry, you don't get the square wave disappearing. Whoops, wrong way. Miss Jane, wrong way. You get the sine wave appearing, I should say. That's the difference between the two. Anyway, there's
Shapes a little different too.
yeah. Anyway, so what are these modules? These are VCOs. What are they based on? Well, I think he doesn't actually say on his website. He does this. I don't know why. He says they are based on a 1969 famous British pin matrix synth. That's what he says on his website. I mean, yeah, guys, I'm pretty sure we know what that is.
There's such a thing as being too coy.
Look at the title. VC should be an S and then 3. So you've got a VCS3 oscillator, or two of them if you want. Now, the premium version with the fancy knob is €210. The reason why is that knob is expensive. Okay, don't ask me why, but it is. They're expensive to source.
They're expensive.
Why is it expensive?
Because they've got like a lot of
They're geared.
yeah,
They've basically got gears inside them.
a lot of mechanical stuff in it.
Yeah.
And
they're
the basic
hardly ever
I
used.
think you'd answer
except
that
in
since you said don't ask me.
the basic is €170.
They're trying to simulate the vernier dials of a VCS3.
Yeah.
Basically.
So the 170, if you don't want to get the special dial, it does the same thing, right? There's no difference between the two. As far as I can tell, I haven't read if there is any other electrical difference other than the knob. But
It's a fine control, really.
yeah, why don't we have a little listen to the oscillator? And please don't play an ad. Okay, where's my mouse gone? There. Here we go. Bottom left. Just a little bass sequence.
He's also using the sub module, which we mentioned on previous shows.
And that's Sonic Potions, I think. We'll stop it there. But you know, you got to hear a little bit of it. It was going through a 2600 VCF, so you weren't really hearing it completely because obviously it was being subtracted a bit.
Yeah.
But they do look pretty swanky, I would say. Yeah. So I'm just going to grab
The styling example. Yeah. Ranzee is about to stylize, present you feedback modules design ethic.
See if we can get a nicer look at it
Focus.
from here. So just if I shine it in the different light, can you see just that shininess of the gold paint and the white?
The white is slightly off white, so it really catches
Yeah.
the same.
You guys see
kind of
that?
tint?
It's a stunning like color scheme. It really, really is. So those photos don't do it any justice. And I mean, the amount of work that they put into these modules. It's pretty cool. So when you're buying, like, you're thinking to yourself, 200 euros, I don't know, it's pretty expensive.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about this on this show, about how much things really cost. We're going to talk about this today.
Yes.
Because I really think we've been spoilt a bit with China. And I don't think the truth is really there.
Truth in pricing.
Yeah.
By the way, is that module heavy? Looks pretty chunky.
This is
Yeah.
this is heavy. Yeah. This is beautiful. This is for sale, by the way, if you want this.
Yes.
How deep is that anyway?
Mine, can't remember.
Is your rag?
Pretty deep. You can ask me later. I'll measure it for you.
Okay.
God, here we
All right.
go.
It's all right because I'm just getting more ideas for the live set.
Okay, so let's basically, you've got two different types of oscillators with two different options with them, and you've got the LFO. Which would you guys like to talk about?
I might just spill the beans and say I have actually ordered these.
All of them.
I've ordered an example of each.
Wow.
Everything in that chain. I've ordered the B oscillator fully built, deluxe or professional. It's got premium with the funky dial in the middle because I need to have a funky dial.
Yeah.
And the green one, I just got the standard dial, and I got it's a DIY kit. Basically, I only bought one built module, and I bought DIY kits for the A oscillator, the 2600 VCO, and I also got a sub module, so you'll be able to hear all three of those sometime in the stream in the
Nicely
future,
done.
and they come up here. Yes, no, yes, I have thought about this the last couple of days and gone, yeah. So yes, so a bit of a fanboy of feedback modules now, pretty obviously. Yes, and I was thinking
not
about
my
the
influence
whole
at all.
I don't know. I'm now thinking about the whole sort of, I have now got enough to probably make a feedback modules only rack.
Nice.
Yes, and you're talking about how they look, and I'm thinking, but then I
Yeah.
look like the guy in the video all the time. Win some,
Well,
lose some.
I'm actually selling a few of my feedback modules.
Yes.
So the
build
one
another
bit
one too.
the 1 bit tap delay is going.
I still haven't finished building the ones I bought already. I finished this one in a couple of hours this week.
I thought you lied to me anyway.
Knocked
about
one of
that.
these out.
Selling it.
No, I actually have. So I've been given some of their modules to do some work with, and I've actually got 4 of his mixes, and I don't need 4 mixes, so I've already sold one of them, and I've got 3 left, and I probably may even sell one more, actually, to be fair, because I don't really need so many mixes in my Eurorack. So I've got a Mix KM that I might get rid of as well. I think it's on my Reverb store at the moment. But it's not about me.
Or me.
The 106 chorus module's back in the store too, if you guys want to know.
Yeah.
That's
lovely
definitely
module.
worth getting. It's insanely good, that module. So
Wonderful.
And
you know how
British,
TC Electronics brought out that clone of the Juno's chorus, which really didn't do a good job, and then they had to issue a second version of it, and basically the second version is fixing the crap that they stuffed up on the first version, which they should never have done. And even the second version, it still isn't close. It's definitely a lot closer, but they're still using the wrong BBD chip. So this chip that you get, this module that you get from feedback modules is actually the XVIV or X5 3309, which is a clone of the original Panasonic BBD that they used in the actual Juno 106 chorus. It is the exact BBD, and 150 euros for a Juno chorus, and you can have that plumbed into any. I mean, I've plugged synths into that, and it sounds fine. It's got a line level adjustment on it, so you can plug anything external into it as well. Anyway,
Sorry,
Andy,
but do you want?
It's all right. Did you want to say something, Chris?
No, I was just going to say, did you want me to talk about the sort of what we didn't show a video there of the sort of more VCS3 style synthesis where one's cross modulating the other, because the oscillators both have a sync function and a FM function, which I mean, I guess every module has FM these days. But the syncing of those two oscillators together gets some pretty wild sort of radio type tones going on, which, yes, I know is kind of a one-trick pony and you kind of do it, but every so often you'll hear something in there and go, I recorded that, I'll use it somewhere in the track.
Well, technically all you'd need, Chris, now is one more. So you have 3 oscillators, because the VCS3 actually had 3. And I mean, Eurorack basically is your pin matrix. Okay.
Yep.
Your joystick.
Well, I've got the planar too. You could. There's a few out there. There's a Befako joystick, which is also pretty good.
Yeah, planar 2 is good. I have that one.
Yeah.
And the other thing that you
trapezoid envelope.
But you can do a trapezoid with a make noise math.
Nearly everything now.
Yeah.
Everything now. Yeah.
Anything that can do like a slew or something like that would be fine.
The
Even like the
filter's
Behringer
different.
neutron. A Behringer neutron can make a trapezoid. So with the slew.
You're just missing some VCAs and a filter, but
and the filter is kind of
and the string mover.
probably the only thing I reckon that you'd need.
And you got to wonder whether that's in the works somewhere.
Because it is quite unique, that filter, right?
Yeah.
The sine wave is also really interesting. If they've got the sine wave right, you guys probably think, what a sine wave? How can you get it wrong? How can you get it right? Well, zoom in on your waveform, boys, and you'll see noise on those suckers, right?
Yeah.
Have a look at your real sine waves. Zoom in on them.
Since getting my scope, some of the sins are revealed.
Yeah,
I mean, there's sometimes they're good sins. Sometimes they're really good sins. The sins you want to commit, but sometimes they are. Yeah,
furry sins.
Explain a few things. Furry sins. You got the fuzz, mate. You got the fuzz.
Yeah.
So
I'm a bit interested to see what it looks like on a scope. So when you do get it, let us know. Absolutely.
Oh yes, that'll be fun.
Cool, guys. Should we keep going? So we've done the VCO. You've done the VCO. How about this? Last thing for today. Bit of Arturia love.
Ah, yes.
This is a MIDI controller. By the way, I don't know why the showing the wrong thing down the bottom.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Might have to reset. No, it's not working. Anyway, do not worry. It does eventually sort itself out. The Arturia video is ready to be played. Let me do this.
Hello everyone, it's Matt Paul here, and in this video I'd like to present to you Arturia's universal lightweight music making controller, Keylab Essential Mark III. In this video we'll explain what it is, how it works, and why you should make it your go-to controller keyboard for any style. So let's get into it. Keylab Essential Mark III is an inspiring and intuitive keyboard controller designed to make your music making workflow more personal and enjoyable than ever before. It comes with a velocity-sensitive keyboard with a synth action feel, fresh controls including contextual buttons and pressure-sensitive pads, a bright new screen, creative features like scale mode, a premium creative software bundle, and much more. Whether you're a beginner producer or an experienced music maker looking for a refreshed setup.
So basically, I'm not going to let him keep going because he's just talking about the older release of the Keylab Essentials, which was the 61 key and the 49 key. And this release is the 88 key, which you saw in the graphic before, right? So the 88 key is the long one. Is that going to... There we go. That one. And you get a white version and a black version. The 88 keys, there is a few things that it does. They are semi-weighted. Probably one of the best value semi-weighted keyboards for MIDI controller on the market. You are looking at around just under 400 euros for this. So when you're thinking about it, it's an 88 key keyboard, like it's a proper size piano key. In fact, so I want to make a point about this. I don't have any synthesizers in my house or keys in my house that are 88 keys. And my son is studying music at school, and he absolutely tears me a new one every time he does his lessons because he doesn't have an 88 key piano in the house. So either I go out and buy a mini grand and put it in the entry here, or I get him one of these or something like this. And you know, if you're in that sort of situation where you do need the proper length keyboard, this is good. And the bundle is exactly the same as what came out last year with the other Mark III stuff. So you're getting all that stuff you talked about. So it's not bad. It's not like you thinking it's not just a keyboard controller. You're getting a whole bunch of other stuff with it as well. Yep. That's it.
How much did it run? How much did you say it was?
€399.
That's a great price.
Yeah, you're getting
It's very nice.
obviously you're getting the semi-weighted key. It's got a 2.5 inch LC display. The context dependent buttons. You've got DAW integrations with Fruity Loops, Ableton of course, Logic, and you can control any of your Arturia stuff from like V collection, FX
Lab,
collection, pigments, things like that. It has a sustain pedal input at the back, 5-pin MIDI output, and a USB-C connection as well on the back. And what else can I tell you? The actual
Black and white.
press. What was I saying? The keys themselves have improved between the Mark II and the Mark III version. So if anyone is going, oh, I've got a Mark II and it's not that good, blah blah blah, Arturia is saying we've updated it. So
With another play.
yeah,
I noticed the video didn't mention aftertouch. Does this not also have aftertouch? Is it?
the keys are not aftertouch. So don't forget, this is the budget end of the scale. Okay, and
I know,
also
they're this is pretty budget, and this has aftertouch, and so does the original, key step.
yeah. I don't get why they do. Look, I'm with you. Okay, I'm with you. But just remember, this is not aimed at that market. This is more aimed at a.
Oh, I get it.
But
how much is it to add aftertouch, especially channel aftertouch? It can't be much, right?
Yeah. Well, this was the whinge we had when they released the 61 and the 49 key versions.
Right.
Okay. So they had an opportunity to put aftertouch in this, and they still didn't.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a reason why they're doing it, and that is because their higher end flagship model controllers have aftertouch.
They want to encourage you to buy the fancier stuff, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like the Moog DX line.
I don't think I'd need 88 keys because I'm using electronic and synth, and I don't think I ever get up past octave 5.
Yeah.
I confess I didn't need an 88 key until I did an orchestral score, and then I really needed.
Yeah, well, I've had 88 keys before.
I've sold it since then. So
I just bought a Casio Privia 12 years ago. That's good enough. So.
What are you saying, Ian?
I was just saying that in the past I have had 88 note key. I used to gig with an 88 note piano. There are times when you need them, but not all the time. I mean, in here, the Kronos I bought was a 73. So unless like Rand says, for when you've got a child that's learning to play piano, it's much better for them to have an 88 note keyboard. Definitely, just from a learning point of view.
I'll tell you what he's got in.
Oh,
he's got
and it's not like I say, it's not expensive neither.
He's got a Yamaha PSR keyboard, right? Which is 61 keys.
61, yeah.
And the velocity sensitivity on it is shit. He smashes the crap out of it because he doesn't he learns at school on a proper full size grand piano, right? Yeah. And then he comes home and he's got this crappy Yamaha PSR piece of crap. So probably what I should do is just buy a piano for him. That's probably what I should do, because he's not going to ever get anything close unless he has that, to be fair. Maybe a Roland RD or something, might come close.
Well, the in piano land, the Yamaha. I mean, I used to have a Yamaha P80.
Yeah.
Now, because they're a graded hammer action and they're heavier on the bottom, like an acoustic piano. and lighter on the top. And I absolutely loved it. The action on that was great. So you can pick them up fairly cheaply second hand now.
Yeah, you want it. You
can
want the
get one
key
of
to
them.
have a give at the top.
Yeah.
But then you want it to
Yeah,
kind
you
of be harder down the bottom, like you said, heavier on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Korg B range, which is B1, B2s, are not bad, but they're not as good as the Yamahas. The Yamaha P80s, P90s were I thought were excellent, really excellent pianos.
Well, if we do get an actual real acoustic piano, we were thinking of getting a Yamaha. So, you know, like I know there's people in chat saying get this and get that. You know, like right. If only, you know, the Lamborghini at the front. Yeah, no worries. Yamaha's about all I can afford, and look, they're decent for the price. Like my daughter
really
plays flute. I bought her a Yamaha flute, and it's been brilliant. You know, compared to the other options, I've heard people have dramas with some of the more expensive flutes. And yeah, anyway, we're going off track, but that's it. That's it for news, I think, guys. So I know there's a lot of Eurorack, but don't blame me. If you want more stuff for me to show, tell your manufacturers to get off their butt and make more stuff.
Blame it on the Eurorack boogie. Don't blame it on me.
Ooh, don't hit that thing. Shit. I just smashed my drink into the ATEM, which is actually the thing streaming the show. Is it still streaming?
Oh, no, that would be bad.
It says it is. Right. Okay, we should now get into the main part of the show, which some people have probably joined just to watch, and they're thinking, when is he going to stop talking about crap?
Synths and stuff.
Synths and stuff.
Give us some woodworking, please.
Yeah.
All right. How about we go over here? Take Darren off because, you know.
Get your hammer out.
So, guys, here it is. Here's my first DIY. The one on the left is not finished, if you can work that out. There's my first DIY Eurorack case. If you're wondering a little bit about it, it's it puts these things in modules, right? Okay. Sorry. But what we have here is we have 5 rows of 104 HP. So you guys can do the math. And then I've got 2 of them. I built 2 of these because at the moment I want to have them next to each other like this. In the future, I may decide to scale down, or I may decide to split them up. And what I didn't want is I didn't want to have this monolithic 200 HP thing some people have got. So I've decided that I'll do it this way. And I didn't, you know, look, okay, please don't pick on me. I have about as much skill in woodwork as my dog, who's snoring out the door here. I did woodwork at school, and that was about it. I've made a gate once. It's still there. But in terms of
album of gates,
in terms of woodwork, I did, yeah, boom, boom. So what I've used here is unfortunately, guys, this is Chinese-made reconstituted pine. So you can see that these are little pieces of pine that have all been sandwiched together and glued.
Yeah,
the reason why I chose this is because I wanted to get a piece that would be 450 mil wide. It is flat. It's engineered as well. But I wanted to get a piece. I didn't want to have to glue any pieces of wood together to get the width of this case. That was the first thing. And so every single piece here that you can see that's like a separate side is actually a single piece, and that's the benefit of this. There's no pieces joined to make a side or a top or a bottom. So they're all single pieces.
And you didn't want to use plywood.
And I didn't want to use plywood. No, because
expensive and
I looked at the photos of people who are doing plywood synth cases, and I just don't like the look of them. Here on the face, this part. Because it looks like
the edges aren't.
Looks like a zebra.
Some people, it's definitely what do you call it? An acquired taste. Some people really like the edge of, and they use it as a feature.
Yep.
But some people, it just looks like a mistake.
Some people paint it and you don't see that, but you know.
Yeah.
But what's the point then of using plywood?
So let's talk about the construction first, because I think like this is I'll zoom in with the PZZ camera in a sec. You guys can go check it out. I literally only have just got this thing powered up today, and I tell you what, guys, I was shitting myself because this is the first time I've ever worked with AC. This is mains voltage, right?
Shh, don't tell them. Don't tell the government.
And also, obviously, the Eurorack. I'll talk about the electronics later, but the Eurorack, obviously, the bus boards are DC, and that's what the power supplies are for. Yeah. But this is the first time I've ever worked with mains voltage, and today when I turned it on, to see this thing light up like a Christmas tree, I was like, oh my God, yes, thank you for not blowing up and catching house on fire and stuff like that.
It's a nice feeling, isn't it?
Let me turn it on just so you guys can see that it does work.
Bang!
There you go, lights are on.
No pops. Yeah.
And
No pops. No smoke.
module works.
Yay. Well done,
Okay.
Rance.
So that's the basics, right? We'll turn it back off because we don't want that. Actually, no, I can leave it on for now. Okay, so let's talk about the mechanical / engineering side of this. So at the start, I started this whole journey a long time ago. You guys will remember how long ago it is that I bought these bus boards, how long ago I've had these rails, and I procrastinated my pants off. We're talking probably a year, maybe longer.
It's longer because it was before I joined.
Yeah. I literally, I don't know why, but I just really couldn't get motivated to doing this.
Yeah.
And so I procrastinated, and anyway, we don't need to go into that because it's unrelated. I did get off my ass about a week or so ago, and here it is. We've nearly finished. This one, all that's got left to do is literally the wiring, and that's it. Now, I do like I said, I will go into the wiring in a sec. So what I want to talk about first is the design of this. Now, I did not find a design on the internet that I liked. And this is the problem that you guys are going to have if you're going to do one of these, because your needs are going to be different to everyone else who's designed these cases. There's a million Eurorack cases out there that you can buy, and some of them probably just won't exactly do what you want it to do. In my case, I've got these IKEA tables. You can see just below. These are IKEA tables here, right? I wanted the top module to be something that I could easily get my hands onto and I could see at eye level. Okay, so if you think about it, this is kind of like looking down. You're looking down, you know, you can see my hand on that top right hand corner, right? So, and then I wanted each of these modules to slowly taper up to the last one being vertical at the top here. So, I mean, that's a fairly standard sort of ideology with Eurorack, but the actual size is only 450 mil. So from the front to the back is only 450 mil. So it had to get there really quick, but I didn't want it to be hugely high at the same time either. So I had to say to myself, right, and it can only be 5U, because obviously another U would, sorry, not 5U, 5 rows, 15U. Another 3U would have been too high. Another 3U less would have been too low. So as it is, my hand can easily reach that there. I'm actually kind of sitting on an angle at the moment. So, but if I was sitting in front of it, my hand can easily reach every single one of these. So ergonomically, that was part of the design. And when you think about that, you've got to think to yourself, okay, you've got no friggin' experience at all woodworking. You've got all you've got that you know about is how to use a ruler and a tape measure and a pencil and a calculator. And that literally was where I started. I actually got a couple of pieces of large paper. In Australia we call them A3, stuck them together, and I grabbed some of these rail kits that I'd already bought, and I just started sketching from like a side view. I started sketching a design of how I want these to sort of slowly, you know, go up. And I've got it somewhere, and it's in a box somewhere. I'll show you in a sec. So that was the first thing. Once I did that, then I was able to I've had these pieces of wood for about 12 months sitting in this room, leaning up against the wall. I was able then to transfer that across and draw a little, you know, sketch of where all these go.
So you did the sides first.
So I did the sides first, yeah. And the sides, they look. I'm not going to profess that I've done a perfect job, because it's not. You could probably find, you know, issues with this. And by the way, I haven't finished. By the way, these haven't been painted yet, and I haven't finished sanding them either. I will say to you though that these are not going to be stained dark. These are going to stay. I'm going to do a clear satin coating. Yep.
Yeah,
I actually like the light color of the pine against the black rails.
Nice.
It's kind of modern looking in my opinion.
I think it suits your studio too because it's a white studio.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like designing Eurorack cases is very personal. Some people like the dark coloured wood. Some people like the light. Some people paint theirs white. You know, I don't know why you'd paint pine white, but anyway, if it was MDF, yeah, paint the crap out of that. By the way, don't use MDF. Use a piece of wood that you can trust a screw going into. Would be my recommendation.
Yes. Or know what you're doing.
Now, there's so many challenges with this. It's not funny. I'm not gonna bore you guys to death with this though. But screwing these into the side of wood, I have to work out what size screw I need. And one of the things I didn't want to do, if you've seen a lot of Eurorack cases, they've got you can see the connection of the rails in the side of the case, and I didn't want that. So that's why I've chosen a very thick wall. So these are 17mm walls,
And they're blind screw holes.
and I've got blind screw holes all the way down.
Yeah,
so you can actually
clean
put
on
these
the
two
outside.
together,
Yeah.
and they sit nicely together.
That's
There's a
nice.
little bit of a. I mean, it's pine, guys. Can't expect these things to be perfect.
Did you use pilot holes to
Easy
prevent
to-
possible cracks and stuff?
I did. Every single screw hole that was structural was pilot holed.
Yep.
Yep.
Of course, yeah.
I am sick to death of screwing screws into wood.
Oh, it gets easier when you've been doing it for 20 years,
Yeah.
man. You get used to the.
I don't care.
Oh, no, a bit of pain, a lot of gain.
Now, just give you an idea. I looked at how much these would be worth if I was to buy something similar, and I looked at there was an Etsy store and a guy was selling like a 5U104 HP similar to this but not the same as design. He was using plywood as well, and there was a few lesser nice things on it than this, and he wanted 1,800 Australian dollars
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. You're
for this
talking about.
for one of these. So when
I
you
looked
add
up
these
that
two
place as
together, Ian, you're looking at £1,800
Yeah.
for those two cases. So that's kind of the value that people are asking for out there in the world. And I'm thinking to myself, thank God I made this myself, but slap me in the back of the head for making it myself because it was a pain in the ass. And I want to warn all of you, do not do this if you really like. I spent a year thinking about not doing it. I should have listened to myself. Do not do this unless you really have the patience of a saint. It's a nightmare. There's a lot of areas which you will trip over.
That you're going to, and that you're really going to use Eurorack.
And you could,
Yeah,
I'm not
and-
using
yeah,
Eurorack
yeah.
anymore.
The other thing is you actually need the right tools, don't you? You need the right tools to be able to do woodwork.
Well, I had to buy some tools. Sorry, let me get myself off twice.
Yeah.
I had to buy. I have a circular saw at home. I've had it for years, but it's one that's it's got its own stand, and you lift it up and you lower it down.
Yeah,
Now the problem with
cutlass
that, it can only cut a certain depth of wood. So I had to buy a handheld circular saw.
Yeah,
And that was- I've got a whole bunch of Ryobi gear here, so that was easy because it was just one of those battery ones. It was only $130, so that's fine. That I don't put that into my costings, but I'll definitely get some use out of that. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But there were a few other bits and pieces of stuff that I bought along the way. So let's talk about. I want to talk about wiring for a sec because, yeah, yeah. Like seriously, you guys are gonna like be blown away. If you've ever done this stuff before, you'll probably think, what's he crapping on about? This is easy.
How many meters? How many meters did he use? That's the question.
So I just want to go to here for a sec. Now, these are the switches I decided to go with. At first, I was going to have a separate switch with a separate IEC. You know, these are the IEC plugs at the back here. So I was going to have a separate switch like that and a separate plug. And I was going to put that plug on the front of the case. blah 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 blah. Anyway, so I've decided to go with one of these, and the reason for it is these are fused. So in the little drawer here, you can pull that out, and there's a fuse sitting in there, and I thought that's good for safety. Blah blah blah. But when you buy these, the back of them is completely unwired. They're not. You think, oh, this is a unit. I don't have to do any wiring. Bzzzt. I had to.
Turn it around.
I had to.
Yes. Hey, loop back.
Make my little thingo for this. Can you guys see that? How I've done a little loopity-loop thing. So when you buy this, none of those things are connected, right? And I had to. There was no instructions.
Oh God. That's not there. That's
so you have to know a little bit about, mains wiring. You need to know that there's a live wire. That's a ground, sorry. That's a neutral. That's the live there going through the fuse, and the red wire here is live, and then the switch has to be wired up, and then that goes to your Eurorack power, and that's your earth there, right? So I had to work all this stuff out, like. Sorry guys, but I don't fucking know this shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then, by the way, too, this thing, getting this thing in my case. Look how I'll just go back to this. Actually. So see how thick
was it a squeeze or
see how thick that is, right? I had to get that thing to go through 17 mil of wood. Do you know how long I was sanding that wood to get it perfect? I jigsawed the hole, and I measured it, but it still wouldn't go in.
Ages. Yeah, same here, Rance. To get it to go in just right, because you don't. If you get it too big, it looks ugly. It creates an ugly thing on the outside. So you've got to keep it small.
The worst part of this job, without a doubt, the worst part of this job is that plug. That's the worst part of this job. Like, if I didn't have anything to do with it, if I don't see another plug, unfortunately I have to see this plug one more time because I have to finish the other case. But oh my God, it was a nightmare. And you guys can see, I'll zoom in, you can see it looks a little sort of dodgy, not quite straight. That doesn't matter. Straight. Because on the back, where the plug is, you don't actually see that. So
no.
Can't you go to like Thonk or Adafruit and get a finished plug that you can just put in there?
You probably could, but
if you knew what you were,
do you know how long it takes to ship stuff from Thonk?
Exactly.
I mean, you've got a patience of the saint. You can wait till April before you get it. And I just have this sitting here doing nothing for 2 months while I'm waiting for it to come to the most remote city in Australia.
Yeah, but that's the thing, Rance. Not all of us know exactly how to plan something that we've never done before.
Correct.
So that's the challenge here. Yeah.
Because it's a one-off, you don't want to spend loads of money getting loads of equipment to do it, make many of them. So I haven't, not the same project, but my live set is very similar, where you're buying things thinking it's going to work. It doesn't fit. You've got more cutting to do. It's just everything. It just seems to be time to create something so small and simple.
Yeah.
And you're only making it a one-off, so you're not going to get that sort of that
muscle memory.
You know what pieces you need, muscle memory of cutting it, the things that you need, your tools you need, because you're not going to be using it again, or very unlikely. So I feel your pain.
Yeah. Now you guys,
me too. Actually,
you guys are probably noticing. You guys are probably noticing as I'm scrolling through this, right, that you're seeing the rails and the bus boards look like they're on top of each other, right? And they're not, but there's actually a bit of method to my madness here, and I think maybe this was a bad idea, maybe it was a good idea, I'm not sure. But one thing I will tell you is, after using Eurorack for as many years as I have, and I'm not professing I've used it for anywhere near as long as some other people.
You don't need to use it for many years, neither.
One of the things that you want to be able to do is, when you plug your modules in, is you want to be able to get your hand around the outside of the plug and pull it out, right? Because it's really hard to get to. And so with the bus board being halfway between the two rails, so it's easy to get to there and it's easy to get to there, it's actually done by design. So that one, I literally can get my hand to it.
Yeah, you do want it, visually able to be seen as well when you pull out a module. You can see your bus board, because you got Buckley's chance of feeling your way in there.
Yeah.
It's you got to
How's the
kind of
busboard
have
attached to the wood? Do you have
visualization.
standoffs, or what? What's it? What's
Yeah,
how's it stuck on the wood?
great question. Now, this is another one of my nightmares. Okay, so here, I'll just do it here. Here are the bus boards, right? This is the next one that's about to happen. And you literally have, and you can see I've prepared this earlier, where I have actually super glued on these nylon standoffs. Now, I have 8 bus boards, and each bus board has 12 screw holes. So can you just have a little think about poor Ranz here having to super glue that many friggin' standoffs on. And yes, I have done them all. Why did I super glue them on?
Doesn't move.
Why did I super glue them on, guys? So they don't
so they
friggin'
don't fall
move when
over.
you're screwing them in.
Exactly. Yeah, they're useless. Otherwise, they spin around.
Because guess what happened to the first one that I was screwing in?
You learned that pretty quick, Rance. Yeah. No, I've taken to screwing my standoffs in from on top of the bus board, and then screwing into the actual wood from the other side. But that means basically I'm accessing the bus boards from the back.
Yeah. Ask your question, Darren.
All right. At what point, because I know there would have been a point, because I had the same thing, at what point in your construction and doing it did you think, I'm going to bin this? I'm not going to...
No, I didn't. Once I decided that's it, I'm going ahead with this. I was pretty motivated. I'm one thing about me is if I do a project, I always see it through. And, it's just sometimes it takes me a little while to get started on the project. In this case, I had a fear about
Let me put it a different
cutting
way,
wood.
then. Or putting it down and coming back to it.
No, well, today, for example, I really wanted to get one of them up and running for the show, right? So, and my family are running around the house, and there's stuff going on in my life that's unrelated to this show and unrelated to Eurorack, and I'm being pulled left, right, and center today. Can you got kids going away on camps and stuff like that? So can you find the sleeping bag? Can you find the bedroll? Can you blah blah blah? Can you help cook dinner? Like there's all this crap going on, right? And I'm like, I've got stuff to do. But I managed to get
interruption factor.
I managed to get. In fact, I was even willing before I got this up and running. I had all these wires. I had to recut the length, right? But when I had it all testing, I had the wires actually quite long, and they were just looped in behind the rails, and it would have been fine to show you guys. But I really wanted to show you guys what it looks like with actually all the cables all nice and neat, because I think we're all kind of the same kilt. We like neatness. We like to have a little bit of neatness. I have not finished this case here. I still need to neaten up that mains wire down the back. You can see it's kind of still a little sort of not happy. It'll probably be okay for now. But anyway, so that's that case, and obviously the one on the left has to be finished, and it'd probably only take me another day to finish that one. But by hell, the wiring takes a long time. And I just want to talk about the wiring for a sec. So you have to make a few decisions, okay? First decision you've got to make is I showed you that little plug before, right? You've got one mains coming in, which is here on the bottom right. And then electrical decisions are really important, and especially if you're in different countries. For example, by the way, guys, in chat, I'm going to answer your questions because I know they're popping in, so I really do want to get to them, and I'll scroll back through as well. But electrical questions are really important. You got to ask yourself, how am I going to manage ground and earth? And by the way, they're two different things. If you don't know.
Yep.
So one thing in Eurorack that you've got to take into consideration is filtering any noise. So when you're choosing your electrical bus boards and your power supplies, you want to make sure you're choosing a decent power supply that's got its own filters in it, and then also your bus boards have got to have filters in it. So that's one thing that will get rid of some of your electrical noise. But then you can introduce your own noise by doing ground loops and things like that. So you've got to be really careful about this. So in my case, what I've decided to do, and Andy, you might remember me saying this to you. I was going to put 3 power supplies in this originally.
Yeah.
I've gone for 2, but there is easily no major mod to turn this into 3. And basically all that happens is the bottom bus board, which is, you can't see, it's just here, you can see the wire for it there, that will get its own power supply. That second bus board will get its own power supply, and the top 2 will have to share. And it's no big deal, because that's really overkill. Like, to have 1 bus board per RT65B is insane. The amount of ampage is crazy. But at the moment where it sits, the only thing that suffers a bit is the minus 12 volt rail on these. So that's the only thing where it sits a little on the negative side. Bad joke. But one of the things that some people say not to do is to not daisy chain your bus boards together like this. They say that you should go straight from the back of your power supply to individually to each. Now,
Star configuration, they call that.
They call it star configuration. Now, I'm scratching my head because, hang on a minute, electricity flows, right?
Well, a bus is a bus. I mean, the whole thing is that the actual bus board itself already is a bus. And they're saying, no, you shouldn't connect your buses together with a bus.
If you look at the circuit,
they already are.
If you look at the circuit of that, the wire between those, I'll grab one so you guys can have a look. This is where I'm scratching my head. But some of these people on the internet, they have their opinions about things.
It's to do with larger scales.
These connectors here, right?
Where the rules come from.
These connectors here are literally connected by a wire that goes straight there. So if you're plugging something into that, and then you're plugging something into the back of that to go somewhere else, it's literally like you're using the same wire. So you can't really see it. I don't know if I can get it to reflect the light. There you go. You can see the trace. There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is.
Track, yeah.
See the trace there, guys, as it's reflecting?
Yeah.
So they are electrically connected. So why would you do a star topology and buy those, what do they call them, wacko crimpers or whatever they're called? Wagos.
Wago connectors.
Which you can't even get. They're not hard, they're not easy to get over here, right?
Yeah, you can get the Chinese.
You can just do that. You can just connect it like that. So, I don't get it. I mean, someone will probably yell at me in chat and saying, you don't know anything about it.
Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of those rules kind of do apply, but in larger configurations. And of course, people take that experience and propagate it
to everything
because it's applicable to their situation. But as things get smaller and smaller and lower and lower scale, people don't realise that there's a point at which that rule no longer applies, or the effect is no longer as great.
Yep.
And we're talking about small distances here. We're talking about distances less than a foot between bus boards. I would think that would be fine. And you've used pretty thick gauge wire there as well.
Yeah, 2.5 mil minimum. So we're talking, what was it? 18 gauge? 18 gauge?
18 gauge, yeah.
Something like that. I think some of them are even actually less. Some of them might be more. It depends on, because I got wires at different stages of my life. But honestly, they only need to be 20, I think 22 or something. No. So it's way over what it needs.
Because it's short distances.
Have the gauges gone up through the life then, Rans?
They have, mate. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to show you guys is this is an RT65B. Oops, the electrons are going to fall out. There we go. It's around the right way now there. So if you're wondering, you want to play it along at home, these are not the best power supply for Eurorack in the world because they are a little bit, and you can probably see here, focus. Come on. Can I just manually focus on this or what?
It's too smart. It knows.
It doesn't.
It's seeing the lights flashing.
I'm trying to show you the amperages on each of those. There you go. So you can see the minus 12 is only 0.5 amps.
Yeah.
Right.
These days, it would be nice if they made one that has a little bit more on the minus 12 and a little bit less on the 5 volt.
Yeah. So apparently there is one, and I just haven't been able to find it. Anyway, that's what I want to talk about. So one of the things that you do when you're wiring, and I just wanted to show you this here because this is where all the wires go in, right? So this is all your mains here, and this is where all your DC stuff is. So your V3 is your -12, your V2 is your +12, common ground com, and your 5 volts, and that's like a USB volt. And there is a little trim pot to adjust your 5 volt. Anyway, let's go back to here, and I want to show you something. So when you're doing your wiring like that, and the power supplies, you have to do testing with a multimeter to make sure that at every point in your wiring structure, you've got a continuity and no cross. You haven't got little stray wires touching pins and things like that. So what you do is you get your multimeter and you put it into that test mode where it makes the beep sound. I'm dumbing it down for everyone, right? So they can understand. There are specific names for this, I know. And you would put your red or black probe on there, and the opposite probe, on one of the little. Actually, I'll just do it in front of you here so you can see.
Yeah.
So you would once it's all wired together, you would put your probe on one of these things, right? And then you'd hear a beep on the right one. You're all good. If it doesn't beep on any of the others, then you're fine. If it beeps on any of the others, then you've got a problem with your wiring. So you've got to check continuity on. Oh, there you go. I've used the right word now. On all your wiring before you even attempt to turn any mains power on. So that is quite a big job in its own.
Sometimes even advisable, if you can stand it, is to test as you go.
Yeah.
So hook up one bus board, test the cross talk. Test it, hook up the next one, test that as well. That way, at least if you do have a problem, you're not going, now where on the 18 boards I just attached, is there a problem? Yeah.
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 But not everyone has that patience, so I don't necessarily.
So when I turned the mains on
down
today, I knew that there wasn't going to be a problem because I'd continuity tested every single bus board, and I probably did it too many times because I'm a bit of a stickler. So yeah, there's that. Okay, so I mean, this is pretty basic stuff. When you think about it, this is just a case that's powering up your Eurorack. It's not doing anything exciting, but the amount of work, I'm not trying to scare you off or anything, but I'm just saying, if you guys are thinking about doing
you've
this,
done a good job, Ranzee. All right.
just think about how much work you guys are going to be getting yourself into. Just honestly,
do not underestimate the amount of work.
No, because I have to say that I'm not bad at woodwork, and a few years ago I bought a cajon kit to build a cajon, right? And the kit came. It was 6 pieces of plywood, without the hole in the back cut, and the snare part. That was it.
Yeah.
So I had to buy a special saw
Circular cutter
to cut the hole. Yeah.
Yeah. A large hole saw.
No, I wasn't expecting that. I
turning
mean, so
No.
doing the woodwork. I mean, Rand, that case looks fantastic. Well done, man. Because
cheers, man.
Yeah. No, it's and
it
don't
looks
underestimate
very neat.
that bit of it. Yeah,
Well, I'm going to
don't
stare at
underestimate
it, so I didn't want it to look naff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Good point. Yes, if you're gonna.
And if it did look
at
naff,
for
it
years
wouldn't be on this show.
and
It'd be in the skip bin.
That's another little lesson, I guess. Is we talked before about what point did you want to give up? I guess the other question sometimes people might experience is what time did you just want to say, F it, and I'm just going to do this quickly and take shortcuts and get it done because I really want this finished. Because I know some people are like that. And then you're looking at that underdone thing you did, that little notch that you took out or something for years and years and come. Do you really want to do that all your years, or do you just want to step back for a moment, maybe, perhaps not in Rance's cases, come back tomorrow, look at it and go resume at the end. So I think everyone's different, but sometimes pushing through does work for people. Just don't take your shortcuts and
absolutely. Yeah. Let's get some of these questions out of the way because I saw them. People were like flagging my name. I think Wigoo asked me, am I going to stain the wood or leave it as it is? As I mentioned before, I'm going to use a clear. I've actually got the tin of paint here. We call it, it's got a technical name. What's it called?
Not Estopol.
Yeah, it is Estopol, but it's not called Estopol.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think of the name of it. It's called cabothane, but that's not what it's called. It's called polyurethane. That's it. Polyurethane.
Okay.
It's basically I'm going with a water-based one instead of an oil-based because I kind of feel like if I make a mess, it's not going to be as bad.
You're going for a satin finish, is that right?
I'm going for a satin finish. And the
That
water-based,
looks so much better than gloss.
the water-based one, that's the stuff I'm using, cabos or cabots. If you ever get, I don't know, I think they might be Australian, these guys, but it's a polyurethane. I was actually looking for a product that I've used in the past, and it was called Estopol, like you said. And it's something you can, and it's a company. It's actually a brand, so it's a company called Waddle that make that. So you can't get that unless you go to a Waddle dealer.
No.
So that's what's going to be painted on there.
Yeah, I was going to say normally I just get a spray bottle of that stuff. That's how lazy I am.
Yeah, I have to finish. This has been sanded a little bit because I didn't want to but I have to finish sanding all this. And when I do that, I'm going to stick all black plastic around here so it doesn't go inside. So I'll finish sanding that, then I'll paint it. It's not getting painted on the inside. There's no need to paint the inside.
No need.
Just the sides, the top, the back. Maybe not even the back, actually. The sides, the top, the front will probably oil paint. And that's it. Okay, so that's answering that question. You're going to need a plus or minus 18 volt tap off soon. I don't understand why I need a plus or minus 18 volt tap off. Why is that?
That's interesting. 18 volts is the one for your pedals, the dual 9 volt battery pedals. That's the only 18 volt thing I can think of.
Yeah. Well, okay, so the only thing that I know of that these power supplies have a small issue with, and that is that they're very hungry on the 5 volt rail, right? And because of that, you may need to put a load on them. That's what I've heard. But I'm not sure if they're an older version that's got that problem and they've corrected it in the newer version, because these are only in some cases these power supplies are only 6 months old or whatever they are. So anyway, so that side of it I'm not too worried about, but if I do, it's easy fix. You just put some USB ports on this and you can charge your phone off of it or something. It's like friggin' 5 amps on 5 volts. It's you can charge your friggin' phone. Lights,
some
absolutely.
Flashing lights in there, 5 volt ones. I know they're harder to get the 5 volt ones, but might as well make them USB lights.
Yeah, and the other thing that I was thinking of, I should zoom out. It's my PTZ thing gone. Zoom out a bit. The other thing I was thinking of doing, and I've decided not to, is I thought about putting a hole in between the two cabinets so that I only needed to have one power plug at the wall, and then I thought, I'll just run a hole through. It's easy to drill, saw drill a hole through the two sides, and then bang.
Much nicer having individual plugs though, because then you can move them around and one doesn't yank on the other,
Now there is
one day you want to put it in a van and drive it around, right? So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
the other problem you've got though is as long as those two kettle plugs are plugged into the same power board, it shouldn't be an issue, because if you decide to patch something from that rack into this rack, because that's how you can start introducing ground loop noise and things like that. So as long as the plugs are plugged into the same, so you guys, we've talked about this on the show before, right? If you think about your fuse box on the wall in your home, okay? If that wire that goes from the back of that fuse to the electrical outlet in your wall, right, is supplying the same power to the two cases, then you shouldn't get any issues with ground loop noise. That's the technical theory here, right? But if I had two separate wall outlets and they had 2 different separate wires going to the fuse box, that's where you can get ground loop noise.
Yeah.
It's kind of technical, but that's really, I'm trying to dumb it down as much as I can.
There are other cases where that happens as well, particularly with USB.
USB is a different thing, but
different kettle of fish completely. But
don't forget, in Australia we have the it's slightly different in the US, I understand. So we have the earth cable in Australia, which literally is a stake pinned to the earth outside our house.
Yeah.
Right, and I think the UK have got the same, and most of Europe, I believe, have the same. I think the US is slightly different the way they do earthing over there, which is why they're a bit more anal about earthing in the US. So, for example, in the US, they would probably want to earth the chassis of the rails, right? And in my case, I haven't, because the power supply has a common ground, which is also connected to the earth. So I don't need
every module. Yeah.
Right.
I also find that the modules themselves, especially with the metal panels, end up getting continuity between all the rails anyway, just doing nothing.
Yeah.
It's I guess it's less so with FR2 circuit board style module faceplates. But I know with my modules, I've made sure that the actual the copper is exposed where you screw them in, and it goes through the whole panel, so that you actually are making kind of a metal contact there that you might. So not everyone is going to really think to do that necessarily. It might happen by accident, but I made a big point of making sure I did that.
I mean, if I need to, we can go back to this image again. Each one of these rails is screwed in with a metal screw. They're metal. I think there might be aluminium. I'm not sure, but they are powder coated. But I could literally just pull one of those screws out, put a ring crimp on, and each one of those then is now earthed if I need to. So it's not a massive thing for me to modify. And all you have to do to earth everything is literally just connect it to one of those common ground points on one of the power supplies, and you're done. Job done. Because all the earths, I've done the continuity tests, they're all connected, right? So do not worry about whether you need a star topology and all this sort of like contemplate your navel.
Well, the proof is going to be in the pudding, Rants. If you have any problems, I'm sure you'll let us know. I don't think you will.
I probably will.
I don't think you will.
I think the minus 12 is going to be the issue.
Yeah.
That's going to probably be the issue.
Depending on how diligent you want to be in your modular grid, you can probably predict that might be about to happen.
Yeah, and that was what I was going to say actually. So when you are populating your new DIY Eurorack, one of the things you want to do is you probably want to don't go into modular grid and then go, oh, I've got five rows of 3U 15, because technically you don't. Technically, in the case you do, but your bus boards are not connected that way because they've got different power supplies.
That's right. Yeah.
So what you would do in my case is you would have two 104 HP 3U, so 6 U's of 104 HP, and then you would make sure that those top two there, sorry, I'm not even looking at the right thing there. There you go. Those top two there have their own mean well power supply, so I just need to make sure that I don't exceed 0.5 amps on the minus 12, that I'm fine, right? If I find that I'm way over, then I have to do a mod on this on this rack. And the cool thing about this is I literally just disconnect these wires, they're just wires, and then put another power supply in, and then reconnect it up, and I've got another, and there's space for at least another 4 mean well power supplies. There's one in this corner, and there's one right over in this other corner here. So there's literally a whole, I could put another 4 of these power supplies in. I don't know why, I'd need to.
That's the dead space of the rack, they call that.
Yeah.
The corner. the back corner. Yeah.
The other thing
In
too I
that
was thinking
style.
about is if I dropped a knurly or a screw,
all do.
you know, do I want to get my hand down near where the mains is? So that's kind of why I pushed all the power supplies towards the back and towards the sides.
Good move. Good move.
So I just, you know, out of mind, out of sight, out of screw dropping area. But I don't know. You guys think would it be worth? Maybe I could put like a
It is
covering
kind
piece
of
of wood here or something.
Yeah, it would be good to put a flush board, or even, you know, if you want to keep it really super nice and visible, you could use some clear perspex over
Yeah.
the top of it.
All right. One of the guys asked me in the chat about clearances. So this is the other thing that you got to do when talking about designs, right? So I did take a couple of photos while I was building this of the clearances. Did I have that? Okay. I want to actually. I'm going to show you some of the photos anyway. I think some of you have seen these anyway. So this is. Why is that not showing up? That's weird. We are not getting any. I'm not even able to change the main camera on this thing at the moment. There you go. I can change Chris. That's fine.
I'm easy to change.
There we go. I can go to here. Right, maybe I can do it now. Right, here we go. Let's go like this. What the hell is that showing that for? That is weird. Let's try again. Oh, I know why. I know why. Stupid iPhone photos are HEIC.
Yeah.
Oh, it does my head in.
You can turn that off.
Tell
I
me
turned
about
that
it.
off on mine. So
Yeah.
I haven't turned it off. Sorry, I'll turn it into a. I've got a little Windows Explorer plugin that changes it. Here we go. Okay, so I shared this photo a few days ago on Facebook. So this is what the cases looked like before they were all wired. So you guys can get a better sort of view of, you know, what it looks like from the top down, the curvature of it, and things like that. And also it also shows how they are completely independent. Which is, it's really a design choice, like I said before, that I was, you know, definitely going for. Okay, clearances. I've got some really, really interesting photos that I took while I was building it. So maybe you guys are interested in this. This is like pre-wiring. So you'll actually see no wires connected to the bus boards, but you'll see modules in here being tested for size and height and stuff. So let's do that. Sorry, I just got to convert the HEIC again. One sec. It's exciting, isn't it? Waiting for Ranzee to get off his ass.
Welcome to Image Conversion Saturday.
Here we go. Let's not crash the show. Okay, so there is the case is tilted on its side. I've got the modules in, and you should be able to see how much clearance between the ribbon cables and the bus boards. And the one that's got the closest clearance is 80 millimeters. It's massive. Like, I looked at the Arturia rack brute, it's only 50 millimeters.
Yeah.
Right? So even the deepest dope for module I've got, which is a quad oscillator, it doesn't even come close to that. So yeah. Darren, you asked me about that 1-bit multi-tap delay.
Yeah.
That thing. You wanted to know how deep it was. I'll put
50,
that.
60 or maybe.
I'll put that in there, and it's nowhere near the bus board.
Yeah.
So I'll just turn this off. Go back to here. That's nowhere near the bus board.
Yeah.
Below.
Yeah.
So, and you can see how deep that is. That's quite a deep module, that one. That's probably only about 40 mil, maybe 35 mil or something, with the plug on the bottom. So yeah, so that was the other thing. So when you guys are designing your modules, your rack cases, sorry, you need to make a choice about how deep it's going to be. Don't make it too shallow. Yeah, you want it to be reasonably deep. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but there's actually a piece of wood that I've mounted on the case that
strut.
goes across that bus board is actually sitting on. And the reason
It's a
for
cross
that
brace.
is so that I don't have to go all the way to the back to unplug and plug in. It's a bit more sort of handy here.
Oh, okay.
It's purely just I just thought an aesthetics thing. I didn't have to do
nice,
it that way, but
that's clever.
in a way, it was kind of cool doing it because this
It's a good move.
this wiring on this particular bus board here actually goes down the back and then down into the power supply there.
Cool.
So it's actually not connected to that wire there. That's a different wire. So that keeps that separate, and it's on a different power supply too. So these are all the little design decisions that you come up with when you're doing these things.
And you didn't do any of this in a CAD package
No,
or a
it was
sketching package.
all done old-fashioned way. Now, I mean,
some people want to do that, some people don't.
I'm
whatever
probably
works for you.
I'm probably playing it down a bit. Like I do have a bit of an idea when it comes to, you know, there's a few things that go through my head about if I'm going to touch wood, measure twice, cut once. You know, these are the kind of things that your dad tells you when you're a kid. You know, if you've never heard that before, make sure
Jesus,
that's
I measure 3 times, cut it and still
yeah. Make sure that stays in your memory because I literally did that, and I swear to God, there was one time where it actually caught me.
Yes.
And I went,
Yes.
yes, I'm
Me
glad I
too.
measured it twice.
Yep. Done it many times.
Yep.
Yeah. Surprisingly, every so often you're just going, this is why we check.
Yeah.
That's definitely a good move.
Oh, okay. Kent's being silly. That's why he wanted the 18 volt thing. Right, fair enough. Universal Vibes asking, is there a 1U rail? No. I purposely decided to not do a 1U rail.
Yes, interesting.
Okay, so there's a couple of reasons why. Number one was cost. So for me, it was a cost reason.
Expensive for, you burn the cost of 2 rails and 2 nut strips on essentially whatever it is, 50 millimeters of why.
Yeah.
The only
Well,
reason
1U
to
rail
do it
doesn't
is
make
when
sense in a big case. It's good for portable cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's,
If you're trying to shrink things, 1U is your friend. If you're trying
My
to,
IntelliGel cases have 1U rails. It's a 7U case.
that's
fine.
That's exactly the point I was making. So Chris and Andy both said the 2 points. One is that when you're costing these up, when you buy actually these pre-made rail kits, right? You have to buy them unless you're like a magician metal worker, which I don't even think most of you would even want to be.
Machine, yes.
Yeah. They're not cheap. This is probably one of the most expensive parts in your rack case. Now, I've actually got a spreadsheet here because I know that's going to be a question that you guys are going to be asking. How much did this cost me?
That's right.
Well, it's a little bit hard to work out like exactly because I rushed off to the shop and bought spacers for the bus boards, and I rushed off to the shop to buy another pack of screws, and I probably lost track a little bit.
Haven't you gone through all your receipts, Rant? Are you going to claim us all back on your business expenses?
They're all sitting. They're all sitting here.
Hey, they look mine.
So I think I'm looking at, this is just a guess, but I'm looking around about $800 cost to buy all the bits to put this together, and that's not cheap. I mean, it's £400, right? That is not cheap. And the most expensive part was the rails, by a factor of half. Actually, more than half. $440 for the rails. So that's 10 rails. And the great thing about these rails, by the way, is they're made in Australia, for me anyway. So I did look at IntelliGel, I looked at Thonk, there was another guy on Etsy I looked at.
Okay, may I ask?
Amalgamod.
Say who they are?
Amalgamod, yep.
I shall check them.
They're an Aussie place, and you can buy 1U rail kits from him, and they are cheaper than a 3U rail kit. So it wasn't that like much cheaper. So that's where I sort of went, I'm going to go with 3U all the way through, because I don't really have any 1U modules anyway, so what's the point? Because if I do put a 1U in, I'm going to have to now go and buy 1U modules. And it was kind of like, that decision. So that's why that was.
Yeah.
The second most expensive part, and it was only by a nose, was...
Power supplies.
Oh, he's saying power supplies? No. Wood.
Okay.
Now, the problem with wood is it's going to be different for you guys in your part of the world.
Yeah.
In Australia, we have a wood problem here. Not because they don't grow
It's a wood
trees.
problem everywhere.
We have the timber mafia.
You're not allowed to chop trees down in Australia now without
right,
a special license, right? And there's certain
Even
trees...
eucalyptus?
No, you're not allowed to chop them down, and it's literally like a jail term if you get done for it. It's nasty. So you can't get a lot of the hardwoods that you used to be able to
Farmers,
get. We have these natives like Jarrah and I think it's Kiara or something, Nelly, and it's all these different types of woods that we used to get plenty of.
Carry.
You can't get them at Carry. That's it. Yeah. So now a lot of the woods that you can only get are the renewable woods like pine, and if you guys know anything about environment, pine is not good renewable anyway.
It's very hungry on water.
Yeah, bamboo is plenty. You can get that. So anyway, and you're probably seeing in your hardware stores or your wood place that a lot of the woods now that you're getting are some sort of glue-based poly type wood that you're getting, like an MDF or a chipboard or a ply or something like that, and they really aren't good for the environment. So I mean, okay, I chose these pine things, but they are literally they're biscuited, but they are decent sized bits of pine at least. My other option was to actually go with proper pine pieces and then glue them together, so it would have achieved literally the same thing. So I wasn't looking at that. So the second most is wood. The third most was the bus boards. Because I did 8 bus boards, and then power supplies, and then everything else like screws, wire, crimps. You guys have no idea how many things go into this. There's crimps, there's wire, there's cable ties, there's cable tie sticky pad things that you stick to the back of your thing. There is
you've got a spreadsheet there. You should show it to us at some point. Pretty it up and just show you how. Now there's you go. There's your recipe. Here's one I prepared earlier.
So it's, if you want to know exact, it's $789.36 is what I've got here. And I probably haven't added in a couple of things that I bought this morning. I bought some crimps this morning, which was about $15. But the thing is, if I buy some crimps, I'll buy 50 of them, and I've only used 9 in this project. So you can't really cost that. So you have to do.
You end up with parts in your inventory half the time whenever you buy stuff. Yeah, you're building stuff. That's why if you do build a lot, it works quite well.
So here's the thing.
I'm always using bits and pieces I've come out of other projects.
Here's the thing, guys.
I'm always building.
If I've spent $790, might as well say $800 on 2 cases, right? How much would it have cost me if I bought Behringer Go cases? Because that's probably the cheapest Eurorack case on the market, I'm thinking right now. So I've got 5 104 HP, because Behringer Goes, I think they're 120 something HP, aren't they?
I forget.
I think I'm on top.
But you do lose on the Go cases. The power supply isn't integrated into the back of them. It's integrated into
you lose
the module,
a bit of,
so you lose a couple of HP for the power supplies. Which
you lose a bit of depth as well too, don't you? Because in some parts of that it's quite shallow. Yeah,
the bottom part of it's quite narrow.
Yeah, but also they're not the right length for me. So if I go back to that, that other desk here. This is an IKEA desk, as I mentioned before, and they're 120 centimeters, I think, right?
Yeah,
if I remember.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Or 1200 mil.
Yep.
So these 2 cases are about 56. I think it's 56. It might be less. I can't remember. So from there to there, it's about 56 centimeters or something like that. Now, I specifically wanted them to be less than the total length of that. So I didn't want it to be 60, exact, and I didn't want them sort of
Yeah.
butt right up against the edge, because I wanted a little bit of space to, for other reasons I won't go into it, but I just like a little bit of space. But the main reason is because these 104 HPs are a certain length, right? And then if you stick a bit of wood on either side, it's not going to be 60 centimeters or 600 mil anyway. So no matter how you cook it, it's not going to be a perfect science. So when you're looking at those sort of issues, I can't put two Behringer Go cases side by side because it's too long in terms of that long that way, right? Too wide, I should say.
Yeah, too wide.
Too wide. And then on top of that, I can't do them like on top of each other either, because they don't have
range.
I just didn't like
They don't have the hardware. They don't have a really, really strong side.
Yeah.
I mean, because otherwise, I could imagine someone deciding to go down the route of getting a whole lot of Behringer Go cases and creating side panels that would link all of them together. But you'd be modifying each one. Wouldn't do the Behringer Go cases have a screw port on the side of each?
They
one?
do, and you can get I believe now they are starting to ship those case joining things. Ask Brooksy. I think he was looking at it.
Yeah, I would think so. But it'd be
Yeah.
far cheaper, I would have thought, to build something yourself.
So a Behringer Go case in Australia is about $500, right? Or £250, I think, if you're looking at it in the UK, somewhere around there. It could be a little bit less. They have sales. Yeah, let's just do round figures. So two Behringer Go cases is more expensive than my two Eurorack DIY cases, and I've got more HP already.
That's right.
I've
You've
got better
4
power.
times as much, yeah.
Yeah, and I also have better power filtering and better bus boards, better ground clearance, probably looks better. Some people might argue against that. I'm not a big fan of plastic.
Yeah.
I mean, synths need to have wood sides, right? Who agrees? All synths should have wood sides.
Well, I think once you get to a certain, I think it's to do with scale. Once you get to a certain scale of things, I mean, I don't care about the fact that Eurorack modules are a particular small size individually. When you bolt all this crap together, you've got a fair bit of weight and heft and structure that's needed. So I think having a big, heavy case makes a lot of sense when you've got a large number of modules.
Yeah.
The only thing that doesn't make
wood
sense
sides aren't
is-
portable. You
Yeah,
don't put wood sides in
exactly.
portable
That's-
gears.
Exactly.
No.
When it comes
But
to
I mean,
portability, you need modularity.
I've still got my old cases here. You can probably just see just slightly in the corner there. That's my
yeah.
the two rack boots that I've got, the 6U rack boots. So they're still there. I'm probably going to sell them, to be fair. I don't know if I keep them, I'm going to be tempted to fill them up. So I'll probably sell them. I think that's quite smart. I mean, geez, guys, there's 1,040 HP here. How many? Like, I technically can fill these two cases up with all the modules I've got, by the way. And I still have my nifty case in front of me, which you guys saw earlier. So
And you've sold and selling a few. So
I'm selling a few.
shrinking
Today I sold my
faster.
Memiaphone from Make Noise because the C legs killed that module out of the park, right? Just for me, it was like they're a similar price too. Actually, it's interesting. So I've sold the Memiaphone that's on its way out, so that's gone. The 1-bit multi-tap delay is the same. It's another delay module. I don't really need it, so it doesn't really. It does some interesting, cool things, and I love it, and I love the design and everything. But it just doesn't do the things that I want in a delay module for the sort of music that I make. So that's going. And I've still got my magneto. So I've got magneto and I've got C legs. I'm probably don't even need the two, to be fair. But I still like. I'm not going to get rid of them. I like them.
Yeah,
I like them both. And like I said, I've got plenty of mixes.
You've still got your nifty keys.
Nifty keys are sitting over there. There's still, 100 and something HP in that I can use as well. So now the nifty keys is going to go a little bit further down because it used to be just here. But it will go a little bit further down. It will sit in front of my ARP 2500. I've got plans with the nifty keys, and I want to integrate it more with the 2600.
nice.
The case, okay, so the plan is with these cases, I've already gone into modular grid and worked out what's going where. The left-hand side will be the 2500, and the right-hand side will be all the kind of other stuff, and I think the
Roland stuff.
System 100 will go here
Uncle.
as well. So that's the plan for that.
Do you have any special tactile stuff to put on the bottom, like a skiff? So you have more performative stuff?
So where you guys saw, like, I haven't even showed you this yet, but you can see that I've got the BeatStep Pro here, right? Okay. All across the front, I literally still have the width of that BeatStep Pro of a desk.
Pro. Nice. Yeah.
Here. So I'm going to put the Korg XQ64, and there's a few other little bits and pieces that I'm going to put along here. And
no, not outside the case. The actual bottom row, the flat row.
Okay, so the bottom row is all going to be mixers, and audio interfaces and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
as I thought about putting them right up the top, and I thought, no, they need
reaching
to be
for them all the time. Yeah.
They're the ones
so you
that
don't
I
have
kind
tweakers and ribbon controllers and stuff like that to put in there?
I don't have a ribbon controller. I've been wanting to get the dope for one, but they haven't been in stock.
Yeah.
So the moment that they come back in stock,
Oh,
I'll
the
probably
ribbon
will get
pad.
one.
Well,
Yeah.
if you look at my picture, you'll see the dope for
Yes, I saw it. Yeah,
He's got a
yeah.
ribbon, yeah.
Yes.
I saw
Yeah.
the ribbon.
Ribbon strip. I'll just say ribbon pad.
The planar 2 will go on the bottom row, and the ears will go on there. The little contact mic from Mutable.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think what else. This is just off the top of my head. I can't remember. I might share with you guys the.
Makes a lot of
modular grid.
sense to put the mixers down the bottom, because sometimes you're plugging stuff in from outside of the Eurorack that you want to just pipe into the show.
Yep. You can always change it too. Like if it doesn't work, you know, you
That's
just
the
move
thing.
them around.
Yeah.
The other thing too is,
Are you going to
yeah. You go.
Are you going to do a bit more woodwork and have a little angled BeatStep Pro raised up slightly so that it just sits in front of you?
So you can see it better.
Like
Like
makes
that.
flat on the
stands,
desk.
yeah.
You want that,
Yeah.
do you?
Yes, just so that all the outs will just
We
perfectly
can't
come
see
out
it
over onto the.
Rants.
Oh, I thought you could see it on the little photo. Sorry. You want it like this, Darren.
What's it?
Yes,
Angled.
there.
Yes,
Now some nice woodwork.
Perfect.
Yes, now
Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah.
No,
Slide
is the
out
answer to
drawer.
that.
Oh,
It has to be flat down because
Mahogany
that's
case
what I'm looking at.
polished with brass knobs on the side.
You guys,
For a
I'll show
BeatStep
you.
Pro. No thanks.
There's the view there. That's actually a better view.
Oh, that's
So,
better for you.
so you can see. I actually need to push these back, by the way. They're not quite all the way back. But the BeatStep Pro, when it's all connected, it will stick out a little bit because it's got the cables.
Yeah, those cables, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things I was thinking I might do is I might actually lift these up and put like a little trundle feet underneath, just like maybe a little bit. I've got so much wood left over, so I could literally
Be
just
careful though. Be careful though, because as soon as you create a little crack underneath something solid and planar, that's when everything will start rolling underneath there, and you'll never be able to get it back again.
Oh yeah,
You'll be
should have seen
constantly
the
shoving,
dust.
getting down there with torches and
Oh my
trying to work
God.
out what
When I was pulling paper
early
those
you
cases
lost
apart.
rolling down.
Yeah, there was dust everywhere, like literally like clumps of dust, and because you don't clean. You clean, right? You clean everywhere. This place is like a nightmare at the moment, but you clean, but you don't clean underneath your Eurorack cases because they don't move. They sit there. So, I mean, these particular cases, nothing's going to get underneath them at the moment because they're sitting flat on a desk, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I can't remember if I've covered everything. So there's people that have probably asked me questions. Look, if you do want to ask me a question about any of the project, just highlight my name in chat and let us know. One thing I do apologize if anyone popped into Zoom. I didn't see it, but I don't think they did, so that's fine. No one's in there now. I showed you the voltages. What else is there to talk about? Okay, there is one other thing to talk about. So that photo that I showed you where I was showing you all the modules with the clearances, right? That one there. It's probably a little hard to see, so maybe if I just quick play it like this and we go in and zoom in on it. Let's see if we can do this. I can go position, and I think I can I zoom? No, not that one. That one.
Okay.
Right, there we go. And then we can pan left and pan right. Okay, so the reason why I'm zooming in on this is because can you guys see where the two modules are together?
So those rails don't have a step in them.
No.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
Which
I've always
is-
used rails with steps in them.
Yeah.
That's probably why I've never had to worry about it.
Which is a bit of a pain, but it's also not.
Yes.
And I'll tell you why. So I had to make this
To
decision.
put them closer together.
You can put them closer together. At the same time, you can also your modules actually go further apart.
Yes, and there's space between them.
And there's a space between them. But
Yeah.
also
Ventilation.
there is a little opportunity for me to put an LED light strip in there if I want to.
Whee! I approve.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I like my LEDs.
So that was the design decision I made, and I
Well, you know
wanted
what
to
I
show
did?
you guys that. The only negative thing is when you're putting your modules in, they don't sit perfectly on the rail.
Yeah, it's
You've
a
got
bit-
to kind of
Yeah, you kind
you
of
got to wiggle them a bit.
They don't self-guiding anymore. You've got
Yeah,
to
but it's not a big deal. I mean, some people they'll hate that. For me, I don't care. I hate it when modules don't go in properly because everything has been guided, and you're like, I don't want it to go there. I want it to go a little bit to the left, like a millimeter.
Yeah.
It's not letting me. So when you've got that little bit of flexi move in your modules,
yeah, sometimes it's useful.
because sometimes they haven't engineered your module perfectly.
No, yes, I was just having that problem today where I'm going, this module's not been, and I've got a hell of a lot of modules and they've all been really, really forgiving. And this one,
I like when
module
they
I
do the
got-
little wide holes that
Yeah.
side to side, say a little
One
way.
is good, but
that
you
way.
can still screw
Yeah.
them up even still.
Yeah.
These things you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about. Yeah.
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 You
Hey,
can't
by the way,
get
you're gonna
away
put a
up-
Vegas mode in your case, Ranzee?
Yeah, he does.
Hey,
He's
got
gonna
one of these.
he's gonna send 48 volts to every module.
Do you honestly,
Vegas mode.
do you guys, are you being serious? Do you honestly want me to do a video of me installing my modules? I mean, come on. Is that like watching the
come
wallpaper
on.
dry?
And
Maybe a
explain
time
each one
lapse.
as you install it.
I'm going to put in
Yeah.
the mixer.
Maybe it's a time lapse would be worthwhile.
Time lapse.
Time lapse.
Yeah.
I mean, what we could do is we could do a live stream next week or something where I'm putting them in, but like other shit's going on at the same time because I don't think that would be very good.
Yeah.
Div Kid did it, did he really? Ben's incredible though. Like honestly, I would love to get him on the show. Actually, I was talking to him during the week actually. So he's just like one of those personalities. You could watch him scratch his ass. Basically, you'd be interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm always just kind of
Gets away with a lot. Yeah.
because I have like, how you have opinion about what you're doing yourself, and I'm like, I could be doing something more worthwhile of my time, but this is taking forever to screw all these friggin' knurlies in. Like that sort of is the thing that goes through my head when I'm putting modules in. It's not like the most exciting thing, but I guess it is nice when you get a result. I do get that. So once you've got them all in, you go, oh, there's a row. That looks good. That's functional. Explaining what it does. Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's kind of nice.
Hey, at least you didn't have sliding nuts. It would have taken forever.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Oh, there was no way I was doing sliding nuts.
not a chance.
No way. Behringer Go cases have sliding nuts.
Oh God,
Yeah,
even these
I hate them.
Behringer cases for the Cobol and the Pro 800. Because I had to take it out obviously. The first thing that happened was I was going, okay, now I don't want to move this case, and they all tipped to the
Oh.
bottom.
Yeah.
My make noise skiff has sliding nuts, and it's a different size. It's a 2.5 instead of a 3.
No.
So you got to buy other nerdlies.
Oh, you got to buy the the small ones, the
smaller
M2s. The M2s.
I'm mostly on
Yeah.
2.5s,
Yeah.
so I've got the opposite problem.
So one guy I was having this argument with this guy online. This was years ago, I think, and we were arguing between sliding nuts versus fixed rails. And he goes, you know what? One day you're going to thread a screw and that fixed rail, and you're going to wish you never did it. And I'm like, Okay, so what do you do if you thread a screw with a sliding nut? He goes, oh, it's easy. We just pull the nut out and we just pop another one in, and it's real easy. I said, mate, if I threaded a screw in one of my rails, I will pull the rail out and I'll pop a new rail in. What's the difference? Yeah. I mean, it's more expensive, but how often are you going to thread?
I don't put all 4 points together. I do is usually a cross or this.
Yeah, you go
early.
Yeah, you go.
You don't need all 4.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think I showed it on this photo as well. It's hard because I've zoomed in, but you can see that I've got one knurly on the top right and one knurly in the bottom left. So the red module's got the top right, so they won't get in the way, and that is completely fine, guys. Like, you don't need to put every single knurly in. Unless you've got a really long module.
It depends. Kind of the only time it really becomes an issue is if you've got a jack that's a bit hard. You sometimes have jack. I mean, it's nice when you've got the jacks that are just easy in and easy out. It's like lovely. But not all jacks are made that way. And sometimes you got a module with one of those really hard ones to pull in and out. And if you don't have your screw right next to that particular jack, you can sort of start bending the panel. And I don't like doing that when I see it, so I tend to put something in there.
I agree.
It also depends on whether it's a aluminium panel, because the aluminium panels are stiffer than the fiberglass panels.
Yep, that's true. Well, I mean, also it depends on how much mechanical input-output these modules have got. Some modules don't have hardly any, so you don't need to strengthen them. You just literally just screw them in and away they go.
Or, as I said, the stuff's in the middle, that you do grip onto where it's fine, and the stuff on the outside is like little buttons or something, and it's like it works great, knobs and buttons.
Now, on a really similar note, but actually really important. So you guys remember I showed you the bus boards before, and I showed you how I put the standoffs on them, and I put every single standoff on, and when I mounted the bus boards, I screwed in every single screw into every single possible hole. And I want to make this point really clear. This is a mechanical issue, right? If you're pulling power in and out of those sockets, you don't want any flex on that circuit board at all. You want that to be like, I literally could do chin-ups off of that circuit board. I'm about 100 kilos, by the way, if you're wondering. I literally could, because there's 12 screws in that. There's you can't actually see it, but there's a screw just below.
Well, there's one above every one on the top. There's an accompanying one on the bottom.
Exactly. You can just see that there. And that literally, I'm not gonna, because the power's on, but that literally, you cannot. There's no flex. You cannot move it at all. Now, when I was testing this stuff out and I was building it, I wanted to see what it was like with half as many screws in, or doing the thing where I staggered them top, bottom, left, right, that sort of stuff. Don't do it. Just put them all in. Just put them all in.
It's the boards just aren't thick enough to tolerate that kind of thing, and you just don't want any flex in those boards because they really don't tolerate much for a track or crack.
Yep. Other than like losing your sanity, it actually wasn't too bad a project to do, to be fair. I learnt a lot. I would say things that you could literally just go down massive rabbit warrens with, that I guess probably because I'm a little bit older and wiser, I sort of saw through it. Some of those stories about the ground loop noises and like just people going to too much degree of stupidity. It's a freaking Eurorack case, guys. You're not building a heart machine.
It's basically a case and the power supply. It's like most technology these days starts with that, and it's like 1% of the design part.
So wrapping all that up and sort of coming to a conclusion, one of the things I was saying earlier in the show that I've kind of developed doing this is an appreciation of any Eurorack manufacturer that's like not a massive mass-produced one. I'm talking about even in like Dopefer and Make Noise and Feedback Modules, all those guys, right? It just gives you so much appreciation to how much effort those guys do, because when they produce stuff with perfection. right? Some of their cases, like IntelliGel stuff, they're really engineered so well. And if you're sitting there and you think, oh, I could do that, yeah, no worries. Just like dream on.
just a couple of
In
things
fact,
you
it's
glue
not
and
just
screw
Eurorack,
together. How
it's-
hard is that? Yeah.
It's not just Eurorack, is it? It's basically any small custom built.
Yeah, Darren, yeah,
item.
you know, mate.
Yeah, anything that's custom built for a specific reason is time consuming, money consuming.
Exactly.
Yes.
I
The
did my
only-
short wood shop
consuming.
in school, and this will still be a challenge for me. So
It's funny because back in the day, I used to make my synth cases. So I made a case for a 700 when the early 80s, because I literally couldn't buy cases back then, and I was on the road all the time, and I used to make them all out of wood.
Oh, you mean like the carry cases? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
The road cases, yeah.
Abe did it for an organ. When I had the Viscount organ, I built a case for that. It was bloody heavy. I mean, the thing was so heavy. It's,
Reminds me of Lookman computer.
Oh, yeah.
He makes all of
yeah.
it. He's made a few mistakes, and he explains the mistakes he's made on his channel, so you don't make
great,
them.
actually.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Now, someone in chat, who was it? Half God, Half Beast? Yeah. Nurlies are a ripoff. I can't flag comments at the moment. But I want to introduce him to... Why am I getting black paint all over me?
Yes,
Probably because these are crap.
I'm doing some experiments as well, Rant.
Okay, so...
You did the first lot.
You guys are in. I've already shown you guys this. So who's watched my show over many, many years will already know this, but this is just for him. So if you don't like Nurlies, you can go to a computer shop and you can buy these things, which are like little computer case screws, right? And they are M3. They're the same. So they are bigger than Nurlies. So you can see there's... Let me unplug one of these for you, right? There's a Nurlie there. There's an early, and there's that thing that I was just showing you. So they're slightly bigger, not much, but they're cheaper.
Or something.
They're cheaper. And when you put them into your case, that some people will actually argue that they're easier to get in and get out.
Yeah,
they're actually
I'm
quite
actually
good.
now finding my knurlies are a little bit too small compared to the ones I've made that are 6.5 millimeter diameter knobs.
So for Half God, Half Beast, you could do that. Or you could do what you just said in chat if you wanted to.
plus Nurlies are great for 1 HP and 2 HP modules, so nice and skinny.
But honestly, getting it, I know in some cases that looks really ugly, right? But getting these in and out, if you've got a case where you're actually getting screws in and out, these are beautiful.
Yeah, they're nice
to use. Because this is why they put them in computer cases, so that people get their computer cases open easily. And Nurlies,
pretty
are not quite as easy to use.
It's
so
way better than a screw, and better than a socket head screw. Even.
Well, the fun is as long as you don't crank on them. If you make them super tight, then you have to use a screwdriver to get them out.
I've got bags of these, mate. Literally bags of these things. Because years and years and years in the computer industry, you keep them. Right? I've got silver ones, gold ones, black ones. I don't know why these black ones are like they're like shedding black on me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's because it's the old black treatment.
Yeah, probably didn't paint them properly.
At least they don't rust. As long as they don't
plus
rust.
the
the nylon,
the Nurlies got the
ones.
built-in washer.
Yeah.
Those don't have
I
the built-in
even
washer,
used,
do they?
I've even occasionally used the nylon standoffs. I don't know if anyone's tried the hex standoffs. Sometimes there's steel.
Don't those computer case screws not have the washer, so you get rack rash?
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's
If
why I
you're
chose
not-
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it depends.
got washers.
On whether, yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
standoffs.
If you've got easy
Here we go.
access to washers,
Here
then
we
it's
go.
not an issue.
So this is what he's talking about, guys. Nylon standoffs, right?
Yep.
And in here you've got M2. Well, these are M2s, are they? So these aren't going to work. This is my M2 kit, sorry. But this will give you an idea of what they look like anyway. So, there's your nylon standoffs, right? These are M2, but this is what he's talking about. So instead of using Nurlies, you can use, these little things. and screw them into your case. And they're nylon. And hang on, Chris is showing his. Go, Chris. Yeah. I just grabbed the wrong box. Doesn't really matter anyway.
I use metal standoffs for my modules that are too deep. It works really well.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit, squeaky bum trying to put a nylon screw into a metal thread sometimes, but it has the advantage of being plastic, though, where it doesn't give you rack rash. So it's kind of swings and roundabouts with that. But you can also use the brass nickel plated.
Those are the ones I use.
Standoffs, but they are
put them behind the module to stick out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing you can do too, those computer ones have got little plastic nylon washers in them. You can Temu or AliExpress. You can buy
nice.
1 million washers for 5 cents. Nylon washers.
Don't get them from your local electronics store, Rance? Have you seen how much they charge for
Jaycar? No.
That is
go to Jaycar.
Insane.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Those standoffs that I bought were from Jaycar.
Yeah.
For the bus boards. Yeah. And the only reason why I bought them from them is they're a certain length. They were 6mm, and I think they were technically M4, but I needed it to be wider than M3, right?
Oh, okay.
So that's okay.
You just needed them to be a standoff. You didn't use them.
I didn't. Not using any thread. They're completely taperless, or whatever you call it. Yeah, tapless. Anyway, so if I was to buy the standoffs through AliExpress, Alibaba, Temu, any of those sort of places, right? I would be buying them in a kit which has got all the different sizes in like that tray, like I just showed you with the nylon things. And the problem is that you only get maybe 30 in the size you want.
That's right.
So you're paying for all these standoffs that you don't need, and you're getting less than what you need. For my project, I needed
a specific
something like 60 standoffs. So I would have had to have bought 2 boxes of standoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to store this crap. It was cheaper just to get it from the electronics.
So the brass ones I got on Amazon in a kit, they were very cheap.
Yeah, I looked at the brass. I looked at there was another type of metal. I forget what it is now. There was two different plastic ones or nylon ones. One was a black color, and one was the white ones, which I got. And I didn't get a choice in color because that's all they had at the store. But I thought the white actually looked okay against the white PCB. I thought it actually
nice.
Does not look too bad at all.
Absolutely fine. Yep.
And just don't do what I did. Just don't sit there with super glue and a pair of tweezers, lowering each one on like a Ferber.
The problem with nylon standoffs is I'm always moving stuff around. The knurlies are durable and the standoffs are not, so I'd be constantly replacing all my standoffs.
Andy, it just reminded me of like one of those Japanese martial arts, or Chinese martial arts, whatever, where you're just like, I am in zone now, putting standoff on.
That's right.
It was your busboard assembling ceremony.
I am not. My hand is not steady at all. It's like
the Japanese music in the background.
As you sit back and look,
I can see you in your kimono,
and knocks it off.
I could see Rance in his kimono, doing the whole ceremony with the tweezers.
I had music playing. It was relaxing, ambient music. It was
one of those water things.
I always feel like if you're going to do something that kind of, in a way, pisses you off, like, I don't know, pick a job around the house that you don't like doing, like cleaning the loo or something. Chuck a pair of headphones on, put your favourite music on. Job's over in a few minutes. You're over it. It's the best little bit of therapy you can do.
Motivation music.
I taught my daughter that. She literally does it for just about every job in the house that I give her.
She's sending you
put
a
some
message.
Speed metal on to do it faster.
Yeah.
Standoff salesman. I think there's a standoff in chat about the standoffs. Yeah.
This is a whole new world to me. It doesn't make me want to do a Eurorack, I can tell you that.
Well, I mean, okay, so from the point of view, see, us musicians, we all have a little bit of OCD in us. You know, some
God, yeah.
I say that some have lots of it and some have less, but we all do. And one of the things that you get to do when you're doing little projects like this is you get to prove yourself wrong or right, depending on what side of the coin you're on. And that OCD-ness will come through in waves, like it will shine like it's never shined before. And you will literally just find out, like I said it before, like just like how I said, how much I admire manufacturers now, right? You will literally find out
God, yeah.
how frustrating some things are to do, like putting that plug in the back of this, you know, like sanding it for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Come on, get in there, you bastard.
I don't know why they can't make a drill that cuts out that square shape.
Yeah. Or they actually tell you how big it is when you buy it.
Yeah,
Instead of you having to sit there and measure it.
How about giving you a template that you can actually put on the back?
Yeah, wouldn't that be
drill
nice?
through? Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, because they probably just don't care. They just don't care.
No.
They're just like, oh, if you're going to buy this, you should know what you're doing.
Yes.
Half got half biscuit says, I need therapy after this show.
We're traumatized
See,
people.
if you had
Yeah,
a plastic case, you could heat a metal jig and just push it right through the back of the case.
Well, that's it. Like if I had a plastic case, I could have just used like a
You
hot
could have
knife.
just punched it. You could
Yeah.
use, I've used a nibbler tool, which is for
Dremel.
small sheet metal.
Oh yeah,
Dremel,
That's a
just
pain
a
in the
hacksaw blade.
Yeah, I've just
It's
packed my
not very
Dremel.
nice to use though, and you end up with terrible arthritis in your hands from using it. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't recommend a nibbler tool. It looks
I
like
use
it's
that
a
in my old
business.
case project
It
days.
really isn't.
I used 2 drills, one small, one big,
Yep.
and then I used the jigsaw. And then I used the sander,
I
hand
used-
sanding.
I used to use the nibbler, and my favorite was the tapered reamer.
Oh,
It's actually called the tapered reamer for putting pots in.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go, tapered reamer.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
so
is my
someone's
friend.
who's mentioning the
I've got-
RQ50B in chat? Dead Man Walking RQ50B. Let's have a quick look at that.
oh yeah.
Okay, what
We're
do we
talking power
got?
supplies now.
Yeah, we're talking power supplies here.
Yeah,
So we
really
got
sexy stuff.
we have got -12. But what's the amperage on the -12? At 1 amp. So it's a bit better. That's double. Wow. 6 amps of 5 volt. This thing is hefty. Hefty.
That's the thing, is that you get more on the others, and they'll also
Okay.
up the 5 volts.
Okay.
Stop.
I would not recommend this because the +12 is only 1.5 amps.
Ooh, that's
So the 65B has a better +12, and you'll find that more modules will use +12 than -12.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing. All modules use a it's probably a 25% rule. You could probably assume that your 12 volt line is going to need 3 times what your -12 volt line is, or divided by
RQ65D,
3.
another one. He just keeps popping modules out. Power supply 65B. Did you say, or 65D? Hang on, I got to change.
There are
screens.
that's
D.
the nomenclature of those meanwhile power supply numbers, serial numbers. There are a
Okay,
lot
the
of different ones
RQ65D is
available.
1.5 amp on the -12 and 3 amp. That one would be good. 8 amps on 5 volts. My God.
See, I told you. Every time they increase something else, the 5 volt goes up by twice as
But
much.
just remember too, if you are like the bigger your power supply, right? The more heat you've got in your case.
yeah.
Okay,
Sometimes you may actually start needing ventilation.
you might need to put a fan in there.
Well, exactly the last thing you want in your listen.
So I have
some
a
people
USB
can't stand
module
fans.
in one of my cases, and I power various controllers off of it.
Yeah.
So it's very handy.
Look, I'll tell you why I use the what are they called again? The
65s.
whatever mine are. I'll tell you why I got them. Okay, so I do a bit of retro computing, and I had to build a custom Amiga power supply, and they're perfect for the Amiga because the Amiga actually has very similar power rails than what a Eurorack does, and so that's why I had those lying around, and then I thought, oh, this guy's using these for Eurorack. Use it for Eurorack. Okay, it's not the most perfect power supply for Eurorack, but like I said before, if you need more on your -12, you can always just pop another one of these in. The good thing about these ones is they don't get the RT65B. I keep forgetting. They don't get terribly hot.
No,
these.
not too bad.
So if you've got a few of them in your case, it's not going to heat your case up too bad. Whereas if you start going up in specs with some of the mean wells, you, like I said, we said before, you might need to start cooling your case down. So
And
check
as long
that
as you
out.
don't, as long as you don't put them back to back, you just got to give them a certain minimum clearance between them, so
Yeah.
they can air cool.
So when you're putting them in your case, you want to have like a gap between each, you know.
Possibly 2.
Yeah, like
2
that.
inches preferred clearance.
Sorry.
We should
Are
explain.
the little
we
fans
should-
inside the power supply?
No,
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 it's
they're
just air
passive.
cool.
No.
Yeah,
They're
they're just
passive.
passive airflow.
And that's why, and that's one of the reasons why they use them for the Amiga retros, is because you can put them in a little enclosure. I've got one. I should show you one next time we do the stream. You can put them in a little enclosure and seal it all up, and they're good to go. So, and that's why I thought, okay, that's good for Eurorack, because once you've got all your modules in, technically it's kind of semi-sealed, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
Do you guys know the story of the Apple III that was supposed to come out a long time ago?
You tell.
They had no ventilation, and so it would get so hot, the chips would start to pop out of the boards. So their recommendation was to lift it off the table and drop it and let it reseat. Great as that for an instruction for a computer. Now, no hard drive back then, no moving parts, but that was, you reseat your cards that way.
Wow.
Yeah.
I tell you what, speaking of power supplies, I was watching a video by a very well-known YouTuber that you guys might have heard of. His name's David. His channel's called 8-Bit Guy, and
he's good. Yeah,
he lives in Texas. And anyway, so he just published a video the other day of repairing Galway's Commodore 128. Now, if you guys know anything about music, Galway wrote all the chip tunes for a lot of the games that we played on the Commodore 64. Cool. So I think it's Martin Galway is his name. He's actually originally from the UK, so he's one of your fellow countrymen there, Ian and Darren. But I think he lives in Texas now. Anyway, so the story goes is that when he moved from the UK to the US, they wanted to know how he shipped his Commodore 128, and apparently he just chucked it in a suitcase. All right.
Excellent.
So when David's pulling this old 128 apart, they realized that the power supply's broken on it, and they were trying to work out what the hell happened to it. And so when Commodore built this power supply, they built it so that when it goes into the computer chassis, it's literally upside down. So if you think about all of the electronic elements, they're actually getting pulled down over the years by gravity. And if you look at some of the transformer parts, they're really heavy bits of electronics, right? So you've
Especially
got the coils and things like that. You know, they're heavy.
ferrite cores.
Yeah. And so it all, because he shipped it in this suitcase, it all literally, like the plastic all shivered, and it all just, you know, all the connections and everything just kind of fell off. So they had to find literally a new transformer coil for this thing to get it to work again. So when you're talking about Eurorack case designs, don't put your power supplies upside down, people.
Oh, that's true. Well, the electrons will fall out anyway.
All the electrons will fall out, yeah, of course. Yeah. Do check that video out. I don't mind David. He's pretty cool. Some people probably might find him a bit nerdy, but I like him. He's a nice guy. I actually had a chat to him once when we were talking about SID chips, right? Because I'm a nerd for SID chips. By the way, Andy, did you see that post I put in Discord with the photo of the back of my SID Guts Deluxe?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Because you wanted to know what I've got in the back of mine. So I've got.
Oh sure, yeah.
I actually wouldn't mind telling you this. So,
are they all the same, or is mine maybe different?
I don't know if they're all the same, but let me just get this up for you.
I never looked at it.
Yeah, well, doesn't matter. So
That guy's channel is good though. He has some guys doing music on there sometimes.
yeah, he's got a
or whatever.
like a Swedish guy.
Yeah. He's a friend of one of the other guys who does a lot of music stuff though. Espen Kraft.
That's him. So it's a 6581 in the back of my Sid Guts Deluxe. So if you look at Sid chips, the history of Sid chips, the 6581 is the older one, right? And the 85, what is it? 85 something.
8560.
8560. Yeah.
8580 says underneath it. But that's not what you're talking about.
So that is a real Sid chip in the back of my Sid Guts Deluxe. But the other thing that they do give you is the Swin Sid, right? Which is, I'll find it for you somewhere here. It's like an emulator, right?
Yeah. I wonder how close they
Talk
are.
amongst yourselves while I find it. This is my box of thousands of electronic goodies.
Instead of a junk drawer, you have a junk box.
Direct from Alibaba. AliExpress.
Well, some of them are, yeah. Absolutely. Like those DAs
Yep.
that I bought.
DAX City in there.
And yeah, quite a lot of cool stuff in here actually.
Yep. It's good. Mine's full of just small OLED displays.
And
Oh,
is that it?
Raspberry Pi.
No, that can't be it.
What, were you going to build a project with it?
Sorry, I bet you're talking about the OLED displays, Andy? Or?
No, his fake
Oh,
Sid
his
chip
Sid,
he's looking
yeah,
for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, I can't find it. It's in here somewhere.
No?
I wanted to show it to you because there's something special about it. If I can find it, it was in here.
Oh, I hate it when you know something's there and then you go and look for it and you realise it's not in there. It's
Yeah.
like, where the hell is it then? I hope I haven't lost it or thrown it out.
Well, it ain't in that box.
And then you
So
start
it's in
turning the whole
it's in a
place
different
upside
box.
down.
Anyway,
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Andy, I'll take a
You
photo
saw
of it
by
and I'll show
accident,
you.
did you?
I'll take a photo of it and show
Yeah,
you.
cool.
No, I've got it. Anyway, so I'll go back to this. Okay, so I wanted to show you something. So one of the things that the Sid Guts Deluxe does is it actually makes use of the filter on the Sid chip.
Okay.
And so you'll notice here that he's saying if you're using the Swin Sid, you've got to use no caps and no voltage, so you've got to change the jumpers on it. So you've got 3 different jumper settings basically. With the 6581, you've got to use the 470 PF picofarad 12 volts, so it's more voltage on that 6581. And when Commodore got newer, they replaced the SID with the other one, and it's lower voltage. But a lot of people say the 6581 is the better sounding SID chip. So if you do get one and the filter still works on it, which apparently is one of the first things to go on these, you're actually in luck. So yeah.
Pretty sure I've used the filter, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on the Swin
Remember,
SID,
I've used
it's a
mine for a
digital.
while.
It's obviously a digital filter, right?
Digital
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
clone. It's a software, basically.
I bought it a while ago used, so I'm sure it's a legit one because it's old.
Yeah, well, Goo's saying he reckons it's miles off the original chip. There is a new SID clone. It's not Swin SID. It's called something else. That actually is like, just as good as the SID chip. They have to, because you just can't get SID chips anymore. No one's remaking them either. I don't know why.
But there's sort of 2 levels, isn't there? There's a level at which you can supply when something goes out of stock and you can't get the chips anymore. They can get away with a cheap reproduction that doesn't stand up to scrutiny, because what else can you do?
Yeah.
But over time, eventually people go, well, damn it, I can make a better one, and so that makes the other guys lift their game. And sometimes it takes a while before you get a good replacement for a phased out chip. It's kind of a
Well, it's like what we were talking
Evolution.
before about the Juno chorus, right? And X5 doing the BBD 3390, the Panasonic clone. They've actually done a really, really good job of that.
Yeah.
You know, whereas Cool Audio, they did the 3370 clone, and I don't think they did a good job of that. A lot of people might disagree with me, but when you're looking at redesigning a chip, you have to make a choice about whether you're going to redesign it specifically how it was originally designed, or if you're going to redesign it because you can't tool something anymore like that anymore, so you have to change the way it's engineered.
Yeah, future-proof it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and sometimes when they do things like that, you lose some sort of element out of it. It might not behave a certain way. It might overall do the job, get away with the job.
I think that's why a few of the newer oscillator chips coming out are a bit more interesting, because they're basically saying, well, let's just take what we don't do well these days with small silicon and take the advantages of what those small silicons can do and use that to our advantage, instead of trying to reproduce a technology of an oscillator from 20 years ago, 20, 30 years ago, when the dies were different and everything was different. Now they're trying to produce their own kind of oscillator chips. I mean, the form factor itself of oscillator chips is, something that really went out of favor. Not just the availability of them. It was like the whole concept of putting a filter or an oscillator or anything on a chip was like, why would you do that? You just put it on DSP. And why would you put individual chips? I think that just means individual things that go wrong. No, you want to build everything together. You want to, do a Yamaha and put everything in it, or Roland, put everything in one big monolithic chip with thousands of pins on it.
Yeah.
That sort of fell out of favor. And now it's coming back into there actually are advantages to the way these things sound. And that's leading to another revolution, which is, hey, people are starting to use individual chips for things anymore. You mean we could actually start a side business where we produce, through-hole ICs, because we're doing all these little SMT devices now we can do.
Yeah.
So that's where the opportunities come in for these Chinese manufacturers and stuff to produce some of these older chips to start with, because there's a specification and people know what they want. They want to reproduce something. But now we're starting to see
kind of
hopefully a new era where people's now coming. The Chinese are collaborating with people from other, from other countries and stuff. We're getting this cross-pollination of ideas again.
It's kind of like
new chips.
We don't want a computer to do that, but we do want a computer to help us do something else that involves that. So it's that's where I think the shift has gone. So what I'm saying is, what we don't want to do is we don't want to have a DAW in a synth that literally is just dare I say what Korg did, and just put a Raspberry Pi in there and kind of half the world went, what? Come on, that's bullshit. Seriously, guys, that's not really making a synth. That's just putting a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, I know.
And I get where they were sort of getting butthurt about, but I guess what we're sort of saying is that we don't want to disassociate ourselves with the computer. We want to embrace it, but at the same time, we want it so that it's not like just ruling everything. We don't want to turn into an AI foundation where it's like literally just ruling the whole world. We want to have a bit of disconnect from the technology so that we can then control how we're going to have the two sort of interface together. That's where I think we're going with it.
And the other factor is that not every great idea comes from a software engineer. So we've got a planet full of different brains here, and not every person's going to be great at writing software and great at doing DSPs. So by only having everything with DSPs and no analog and no hardware, we're cutting out a whole group of potential creative minds that could be really good at that. So that's one of the things I'm seeing sort of from the hardware revolution that we're seeing, is more minds that would otherwise not be involved in making creative music devices suddenly being
also
involved.
you're talking about quality difference. I don't know if you guys ever use the old Apple QuickTime musical instruments for stuff. A lot of games used to use it. And the original Marathon game, which is a precursor to Halo, used QuickTime musical instruments for the score, and it was a really good little score in the game. They went from QuickTime 2.0 musical instruments to 2.5, totally ruined the score. So you had to run the old version to make the score sound correct.
Oh yeah, it was like what we're talking about with SID chips. You know, if you had the if you had the old SID chip, it sounded good, and then you put the new SID chip.
It was designed for that chip. When you get the new one, it should sound better because it's newer and cleaner, but that messes up the audio.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. What's Dr. Synth saying? Come on, what's he saying? Let's see if he's trying to get us all.
I got all philosophical.
Isn't Eurorack module just a macro individual chip? No, it's not, mate. You know that. It's a massive VCS3. That's what it is, buddy. If you really want to go somewhere.
Now you're talking.
It's a living, breathing thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's really why I got into Eurorack, because I got frustrated. This is kind of like why you guys need to ask yourself, why did you do blah blah blah? So why did I get into Eurorack? Because I got frustrated that I could not get this particular feature or function to work with this other particular feature or function, because they've hardwired it or they've software connected it only a certain way, or it might have been like, that synth only has one LFO. I want another friggin' LFO on that synth, because I don't want to just, have the same cyclic rate going around doing everything. For example, you might want to have one LFO doing your, vibrato at a different rate. You might want to modulate something else. Okay? So, and these are very basic fundamental things that you want to do in a synth. That's why I got into Eurorack, because I then started going, okay, I'll get an LFO module. And if that synth has got some sort of control voltage connection, a lot of them do, a lot of them have expression pedal connections, right? Then you can bring an LFO into your synth and use the expression pedal connection as a modulation source. And then all of a sudden, I've literally started going from to building my own cases. But that was literally the reason, right?
Yeah.
And it hasn't stopped. Today, it hasn't, like, I haven't gone, oh, you know what? That wasn't a good idea. Nah, I can still, I'll just get a different synth. No, that has not stopped. I've actually loved every second of it. It's been amazing, because I nerd out on stuff, like, you guys know me. I nerd out on DIY stuff. I nerd out on being the master of my own control. Like, if I want, I'm not a brand person. If I don't want to have that particular brand, I'll get a different brand.
Yeah.
That's what Eurorack is. It's literally like it's a free verse. It's a free universe for musicians.
Democracy of synthesizers.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Basically, what you want is a giant 2001 style monolith to stare in front of and go, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah.
Throw that bone up in the air, turns into a
Planet of the Apes.
Turns into a space station. Yay.
Yeah. If you ever want to know what I really wanted a 2600, and then Behringer made that, and I'm like, okay, cool, I got that now. And then I really wanted a 2500, and then they made that, and I'm going, okay, cool, got that now.
The more you learn, the more you want.
Check.
Yeah. There is a bit of that.
But
I mean, I think
Manny's right. It's a money pit.
I think music.
Musicians,
being a musician is a money pit. Come on.
Synths are money pit, period. I mean, come on. Samplers, synths are all
if it wasn't synths, it's the same with guitars or any instrument, isn't it?
Come on, you can't just blame Eurorack.
Yeah, exactly. It's half. It's kind of true, but it kind of isn't true, because I mean, if you were seriously, didn't want to buy Eurorack, but you really wanted to push the boundaries, and you said, right, that means I have to get this next synth and the next synth.
Just go to your kitchen drawer and pull out two spoons.
It's just, I think a lot of those kind of people with that kind of mindset may start leaning into the Eurorack area, because that's the way they're thinking. And now they're going, I can't afford synth every time. Why don't I start getting submodules? Yeah, but it's a false economy.
It doesn't work if you play ukulele. I can tell you, I already have two ukuleles. So and they are.
We've got three. We've got three ukuleles.
Yeah, well, there you go. You see, yeah. I've got a bamboo one.
And if you want a
and I've
cool,
got, yeah.
if you want a cool vocal synth, just learn tube and throat singing. You get all kinds of cool stuff. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you can be on that Depeche Mode song.
Yeah.
Oh,
That or just like lots of coloured lights flashing at me, and a lot of things don't have as many as you can get in a row. Right?
Darren says, "I'm in it for the lights."
Everyone has literally just said, "What Depeche Mode song? What is he talking about?"
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Waiting for the Night off
Okay.
Violator
Okay.
has
So
the
it's got throat singing in it.
throat singing in it
Nice.
as a sample.
I like throat singing.
I forgot what the title was. I have to go back and check that.
Oh, I've got it somewhere.
Having been
Yeah.
to a couple of concerts of throat singing, it's not my bag.
Yes.
Oh, I've
It-
seen.
it
I've
is a bit
seen
tedious,
some
but
of it.
it's-
It's cool stuff.
by itself.
Ian,
Listening for an hour and a
Ian,
half.
did you get that kind of ghost sort of? You wanted to clear your throat after a while.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But the cool thing about those guys is they're doing what humans aren't supposed to be able to do with the vocal box. The birds of the syrinx can do multiple tones at once without trying.
Yeah.
They have to train their ass off to get that. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a lot of samples in that song. You go check it out, guys. There's that was their sample heyday back in those days, the late 90s, late 80s, early 90s, definitely. I was just thinking before, you guys were talking about money, right, and spending money and things like that. So, like, honestly, if you look at anything to do with music, one of the good things about it, and I wish that we've got to keep quiet about this, honestly. Don't tell any other industry. Don't tell photographers. Don't tell bloody computer gamers, whatever, right? Just keep it quiet. We're safe here. There's all musicians. But one of the things I love is to be able to buy something and about 10 years later sell it, and I've only lost a little bit. I've only lost a little bit of money.
Sale value, yeah.
Yeah, and if you think about that, this
Or
is
even gone up if you look at
let this
I try and-
guys. Let this sink
I
in.
try
Let
and
this
sell
sink
it
in,
for
right?
more.
Let this sink in. Let's say you bought something for $500, right? And then 10 years later you sold it for $300. Okay,
Yeah.
$200 for 10 years of use of that product is not bad. Think of that as a little rental price that you've had, and the fact that you were able to still get $300 for it 10 years later. Like, you think about a car doing that. You think about like my wife just sold a whole bunch of cameras. So she's a professional photographer, and in her business she has to upgrade her cameras quite frequently. She recently sold her Canon 5D Mark IV, and it was less than half of the price she paid for it. Like, I think it was more like about 60% discounted.
And also,
So it's like depreciates all like that.
Yeah.
The cameras just made it. Like you say, she's upgrading all the time because obviously things move on. But in music, you can have something still back in the 70s,
Yep.
80s,
Exactly.
and it
That's the
still
thing.
sounds, and you don't need to move up.
Yeah, and it's what you do with it, right, Darren?
You've
It's
just
what
got to
you
pay
do with
Ken
it.
to have it fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Some better than others.
we are lucky little rabbits, guys. Let's have a little think about that and just kind of think,
So-
that's actually pretty true.
So, are you saying that the first rule of Synth Club is that we don't talk about Synth Club?
Correct.
Synth Club. Yeah.
There was a meme in Facebook.
was probably.
I think it was
Sure
today,
something.
where someone actually put in there that there was the price of a Tesla, and they showed the depreciation, graph going down,
Oh, cool,
and then
yeah.
there was the depreciation graph of a Juno 60 going up. And I thought, this is not a meme. This is truth.
This is
These
is
are
a
facts.
This is a war cry. Yes.
Unless it's Behringer. That is true.
Yeah.
Unless it's Behringer. Hang on. I'm selling a BCR 2000 at the moment.
Ah, yes.
And that is one Behringer product that hasn't
They
depreciated.
haven't,
Goes up. Yeah, yeah.
because they've not
They're good.
redone it. They've not
Yep.
replaced it.
And I've got
promised to do
the
it,
I've got the
and they didn't.
Zakwinzer.
Is that the one with the rotary knobs? Or
Yeah,
the
yeah.
sliders?
I've got the
Sliders.
Zakwinzer firmware on it too. If
Yeah.
you guys want to get it,
Oh,
it's on my
Zakwinzer,
Reverb.
nice.
Yeah, it's got the Zakwinzer firmware on it.
cool.
And inside the box, I've given you a USB with the original Behringer firmware and instructions on how to flash it, plus a copy of the Zakwinzer firmware if you want to up down firmwares to your heart's content. And
I had bought a second one to use
$300
Sequencer. Is it worth it? Did you like Sequencer?
I liked it. Yeah. I mean, it's not for me now because I've got, stuff.
Right.
But at the time, it was good. I think MPCs and things like that kind of kill it. But at the time when I was mucking around with stuff like that, it was good fun. So
just before that firmware, the sequencer firmware came out. Yeah, just before that firmware came out, I actually had finished writing an Arduino-based sequencer for the BCR 2000, and then this thing came out. I was like, oh, well, that was a waste of time.
You should have still done it, mate.
I just realised straight.
Yeah, you should have still done it.
But it was a bit clunky.
Yeah. Anyway, I just want to let you guys know that my case has been powered on for the entire. You saw me turn it on. The entire show. There has been no smoke coming out of it, and the module is still LFO. It's a Behringer module too. Look, if I'm going to sacrifice a module, I'll sacrifice a Behringer.
You sacrificed it. Good move.
Do you smell a burn-in? Is there a burn-in smell at all since it's new?
No, it's good.
It's a bit like the child you're willing.
Do you like
to
the pretty lights on it, Andy? I know you're a big fan
Yeah.
to knowing whether each rail has a light. So
Oh yeah.
there's
Yeah,
lights
yeah,
on
yeah.
that. Yep.
Mine doesn't have that because I have a little module for that. So
Yeah.
I go further. I like a different coloured light for each voltage.
Ooh, I could easily desolder those LEDs, mate.
The problem
Seriously.
with different coloured light for each voltage is because everyone chooses a different colour for the different voltages. There's no standardisation. And then you're going,
the wire
is that
colours.
the one with the red? Or is that the one with the negatives, the green with the blue? There's the blue. What the hell's the blue one for?
I am waiting for someone to comment on this video
so much
once
for
it goes.
standards, right?
Right? They will definitely be commenting on this video saying, "Why did you use green for 5 volts and blue for?"
I was wondering if that was going to get mentioned about choosing the colour as a wire. I thought, is Rant's going to say, now the first thing you need to decide is which colour for which wire?
Well, you definitely need to have the same colour for each of the
exactly.
same wires.
I thought you would at least make that point.
Yeah,
you
I
have now.
actually forgot
You've
about
rectified that. Yes, exactly.
But
Consistency. That's
seriously,
all
there
that
is a
matters.
standard, right? Someone
There is a
will get butthurt about the choice of colours that I've made, like yellow for the common ground. Was that the right colour?
Well, I mean,
Yes,
if you want to be pedantic,
I couldn't do it. No.
the back of the
I'd have
Synth
to use
Chips
black.
Deluxe thing you showed didn't use the right nomenclature. Farad is a capital F, volts is a capital D.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and then
absolutely.
there's kilobytes with a capital K or a lowercase.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you're wondering what colours I've used
Blue
green
goes
for
in the
5
plumber.
volts, blue for 12 volts plus, red for 12 volts minus, and yellow for common ground. Because boys and girls, that's what wires I had here. And I'm not going to go and freaking buy a wire.
Yeah, that's
Just
the
paint them.
colours I had.
Just paint them. Yeah.
Use whatever
Just because
colours
you get butthurt on colours of wires doesn't mean I have to care. Do you know, at the end of the day, it's got copper inside.
Yes.
It's
Well, you know what's
copper.
funny? The power supplies inside the IntelliGel, both leads are red.
Yes. I saw that.
Is that
I was very careful when I moved it to another thing.
yeah.
So,
One,
really?
one's live and the
That's
other
not-
one's live.
yeah. Remember,
Hang on, why are these not connecting? The forces of nature is not working. It's the electrons in your IntelliGel just don't work at all. It works on some other magic, I think, Andy.
I've got a few power supplies here that are AC. So they're low voltage, but they're AC. And that's the only time you'd ever really not care about the polarity, because it's AC.
It's
a power
AC,
supply that takes
because-
AC and that turns it into you.
Well,
plus
it's
and
just
minus 12 and 5.
it likes to alternate. That's what it does.
Right.
Yeah.
This is non-specific.
No, there's direct
non-binary,
stuff.
a non-binary power supply.
None of this direct stuff. Actually, I'm not surprised why they don't do more. There is one synth that I've got that's an AC synth. Even that thing that I was building the other day was AC. Remember that theremin thing?
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
yeah. I'm
It's still
surprised why they don't use it more.
was a popular design in the 70s and early 80s to use that because your power was derived from a toroidal transformer or
You
a
just-
normal
you just-
transformer, you always got AC. So
You just voltage
of course
down.
you'd
Yeah.
yeah, and you just have one half for the regulator would go to your plus 12, and the other one go to the minus 12, and you just linear regulator on each
And then-
output. It was all
And
very
then
simple
everything
and
else just got
straightforward.
hot.
That's the thing. Everything gets hot. That's the problem with linear regulators, is that they
And it makes
They
things
got
not portable.
hot.
So now they're AC, you have to use an inverter, and
It was good for those
Whereas-
countries which got cold, and you could just sort of sit around and get toasty behind the synth.
power supply. Where's the power supply? Oh, it's here. It's the warm part of this.
Get the thermal camera out. Oh, there it is.
Yes, there it is. Where's the power supply? I don't need to open the case to know where the power supply is.
When I
on
was
any synth.
so I'm selling the D550 at the moment, right? And I had to go, and Chris knows about this. I had to go and repair the back of it because the previous owner had dropped it on its ass. It's a rack, right?
Nope.
And he'd
Yeah.
bent all the back chassis, and the IEC plug was all
man.
cracked and everything. So I went in, I pulled it all apart, and I panel beaded the back panel back so it was straight. I put a new IEC connector in and all that sort of stuff. But the thing I noticed was when I was inside and I was looking at the power supply, and I thought, you genius little Japanese, you Roland, you, because they knew that they were selling this synth in multiple countries, right? They literally had a multi-powered transformer in the back of this thing, right? And I reckon they would have had like a guy at some factory whose job was, okay, right, this is going to the US, so make sure you put that pin on there
Oh,
and
wow,
screw that down. It was literally just, all they had to do was just
Wow.
put a wire across to there, or put a wire across to there, and the thing was multiple voltage.
does that one also have the little selector in the back that goes from 50 to 60 hertz?
No,
Okay.
no. This was all inside. You couldn't do anything on the back. This was like
Okay.
you had to
'Cause I have
open
some
the
stuff
thing
that
up.
does that. I forgot what it is, but
Yeah,
Lots of things do that. Yeah.
yeah.
It's kind of that's another philosophy, is multi-voltage by having a selector at the back, or 50 hertz.
Well,
Record players
they
do
didn't
it.
exist though. In the 80s, those things did not exist.
No, you didn't think. No, not really. I mean, as you said, they've done it. Roland did it the way you had to do it, which was to have multiple windings in your
Have some guy in a white jacket do it.
Yes,
Yeah.
you could hook up to different parts of the transformer. Get different.
But the thing is,
ratios.
like, I remember some guy telling me, and this was a long time ago. He was saying to me, "Oh yeah, bring it down to the workshop, and we'll, $50 we'll change it from 110 volts to 240. No worries." And literally, that's all he was doing. He was literally going, doop, 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 boop, 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 doop, doop, doop. "Oh, $50, thanks." I'm like, like F.
I'm afraid doing electrical work doesn't automatically qualify you for having morals.
Absolutely. Hey,
Doesn't work like that.
Jake's 3D's jumped in. Nothing like being late to the party, mate. We're about to finish, bud.
He's probably surprised we're still here.
Now that he's here, we'll go.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I think I've got to wash my hair.
You got to look after that nice mum of yours. Yeah, actually, that's not a bad point. We do actually have to go because it is past pumpkin time for me anyway.
Good show.
Well, okay, keep track of me on Facebook so you might see or you might not see. You'll get ideas anyway of live rigging out.
Hopefully, give us
Darren, you should take some like
we got no
you should
idea.
take some weird photos of that like rectangular thing, like in the
Super close-ups.
out in the field where the tall grass is or something, and like
on
put some
the
weird
park bench.
like put the purple dude out there with you as well.
alien
You've given me an
artifact.
idea, so keep an eye out this week on Facebook.
Giving you my idea.
Photo of this,
I'll have that.
slightly with something different.
Awesome.
You're a
Yeah, and
doofus.
if you didn't last week, check the video out for the
Yeah.
Kate Bush track that I put
Yep.
out.
I did.
That's good.
We did.
I was running up that
Good
hill. I was.
Was it?
I actually put out the non mastered one neither by mistake, but I left it up there because I couldn't be bothered.
I didn't notice. There you go.
Might not have been
That's
up to
fine.
his usual volume levels. But
Maybe it had. Maybe it had more
the volume
dynamics.
was a bit low as well.
Maybe it had more dynamics.
It could have done, yeah.
Yeah.
I listened to it back and thought, God, that's quiet. And then when I looked at the file I loaded up, I went,
Don't get me started on AI
I left
mastering.
it up.
Don't get me started.
Yeah.
We aren't sausage factories, Darren. Are we?
No, it's not a DI box.
That's where the digital ukulele is going to be fitting in that box.
Yeah.
All right, boys and girls and everyone else, be nice, press record, enjoy the rest of your weekends.
Make sure you're operating in stereo, not mono.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Left
God,
and
yes.
right, people.
Yeah.
That's it.
2 channels, that is, by everyone.
Not twin
Two
mono
channels.
either.
There we go. No, not twin mono.
Wagoo was saying that Kent is doing a pub tonight. For those people, it won't be tonight for
He
us.
usually
at all.
does, yeah.
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 Tomorrow I'll be wiring up the next case.
2 channels, buddy.
And
Live stream?
No, absolutely not. But look,
Chuck a photo on
I
if you
really
want.
don't know where you guys
Discord,
get
yes.
your excitement from. I'm worried. Watching you put modules in, come on.
You're worried.
No, what he's actually doing, he's building another case, and he's going to show you.
I am getting
He's
worried.
going to come
really
back
am.
next week and say, "Oh, actually, really
I'm
getting
going to
into
start.
this case
I'm going
building
to
thing.
start
I'm gonna
live.
build more."
Yeah, I'm going to start live streaming me filling boxes. How's that?
Ian, we should
See how many people you get.
like point a camera at a wall and just and put a sticker on there. Say, watch the paint fade,
Yeah.
and watch how many views you get.
Yeah, but what's more worrying about is if you get more views than something you've spent hours on, you're going to be gutted.
Yes.
It could be.
Yeah.
I'll
Could be
get,
quite.
I will get
it
so
probably-
butthurt.
It could be. Yeah, it could
Yeah.
be demoralising. There is that risk.
Yeah.
Don't forget, if you want to keep up with the chat during the week, Discord is there. Join Discord. It's free to join. It's not some sort of gimmick or anything like that. There's no ads on it, which is one of the things I love about it. And we do chat about stuff like everything that you talk about in the show plus more. So you would have found out that Chris fixed his Cobalt on there. He'd sent photos in. I sent a photo of my Sid Guts Deluxe in there. So there's all sorts of stuff going on during the week. So check it out. No one came in on Zoom, so I'm going to probably chuck Zoom in the bin if you guys don't want to use it. Other than that, we will say goodbye. Be nice to your mum, especially you, Chris.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
certainly will be.
Say hi to her, mate.
2 channels, everybody.
We'll do.
Bye.
See you
2
guys.
channels.